So getting back to how Mouse ruined comics.
Okay.
All right, 30 seconds. Your 30 seconds are up. No more boomer music.
Stop right there, criminal scum.
You know, really, we should get a new intro.
I like
because we've done the mouse thing already. We spent a whole show talking about mouse.
It's one of my favorite shows we've done.
But someone has to drop a really hot and spicy out of context take for us.
Yeah, that's probably
Leave it to me.
So,
Oh, that's right. You know, because Taylor hates Mouse. Cartoonicus, sorry, hates Mouse because he loves cats. Cats are his favorite animal. So the fact that Spiegelman dared to make the Nazis cats is completely unforgivable.
So you know, you guys might have noticed. You guys out there in internet land, you might have noticed something different, and that something is that we are 50% classier this week. We have an Ideal Comics banner logo up there in the corner. So all of you guys can know what it is I'm doing here, which is on the sly, pretending to give other people credit to subtly work in the fact that you should be reading my comics. Many of them are free. Anyway, it's Wednesday. Also, we've got the soundtrack that I decided to put on here for no real reason. I just kind of like it. It's got a pleasant groove, right? Yeah, I'm feeling it. So it's Wednesday. It's the Mattriarchy, and today we are doing the Comics Creators Club Mark IV, our fourth installment, where we will be studying the works of Twitless in Omega Girl, which is around here somewhere. Aha! Look at that. And
awesome.
Nick Mueller's Demon Hunter Raven.
Yep. Oh, nice cover.
Ooh. So we've got.
I think I got the better one here.
Yeah, well, I've got both of them.
Yes, he's got the best of both worlds.
I am prepared. Tonight we are joined by an illustrious panel, including everyone's favorite Cartoonicus. How is it going? If you guys don't know, Cartoonicus is in fact the artist behind the wildly popular and why aren't you reading it superschools.com, which is only slightly less awesome than Forces of Good and Evil, but we don't have to talk about that tonight.
Just slightly.
Just slightly.
We have over 7 readers.
Yeah, it's really good. That's probably more than I have.
That's better than none.
Yes.
Well, the problem is that like all of them are related to us, so it gets really awkward around family gatherings.
I can't even get my family to read my comic.
I pray my family doesn't read mine. For the better.
Okay, I'm gonna drop the volume on the. We're just gonna kill the music.
That was the best elevator music I ever heard.
That was pretty good. So we also have Larry. Thanks for coming on, man.
You are welcome. I always enjoy talking about fun things with comics.
Excellent. And number one Marmaduke fan is here to tell us what we're doing wrong. How's it going, man?
Hey, I don't know. I don't have anything grumpy to complain about today. So
yeah, because you haven't read our comics yet.
Yeah, that proves it. You didn't read them.
Oh, I did you guys see my old school review of Demon Hunter Raven?
I didn't watch it. No.
I've had
because I reviewed Nicholas's work before Demon Hunter Raven, and there's some interesting stuff. I hope he keeps re-releasing those in future campaigns. But will the what is it? The medieval one? Will that ever be continued, or is that just completely sidelined for Demon Hunter Raven now?
If it ever does, if my kids ever pick it up, maybe. It's funny because they actually just brought that out of the vault today. But in terms of what makes money, no, it's not very profitable. It was called Northern Nights, and it got too lumped in with Ninja Turtles. There's too many people that couldn't differentiate it from that, and while sometimes you want that similarity, it didn't do him any favors. So it kind of it did more harm than good.
Yeah.
So
before we get going, I want to address a couple things with the chat. First of all, Evie says, "Is that copyright free?" I would presume so. It came with the premium membership that we got, so we could start blinging the show for this month. We're trying something different out for March.
Well, you know what you can do now, Matt? You can break into the lo-fi beats to chill, relax, study to. You just gotta put an Anime girl up there and play 8 hours of that.
Oh man!
Evie also says that it was good music. Can we just play it really low? Apparently, she was digging it.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe we'll turn it back on after a while if I'm feeling
okay.
it.
All right.
Ichthus says that free sounds fishy. Huh? It's a pun. It's a language pun. I get it. Well, yeah. If you were to check out forceofgoodandevil.net, I've got 700 pages of teen superhero angst comedy comics that are free for you to check out. Or you can go to idealcomics.net and get links to our colored versions, our stuff up on Global Comics, all kinds of stuff. And eventually, I'll have a store, but I've got to make the time to make that happen. So, there you go.
Can you make us one while you're at it?
No.
Oh.
Well, at least he was honest.
Well, dang.
Well,
I think we need Nick to like move his camera a few inches so that the Ideal Comics logo isn't taking up like your whole face.
Wait, let me fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we got it. We're good. What you guys want to talk about now?
That's
a good and evil, you know. That's
Ideal Comics, Chan.
I gotta respect your branding game.
Well, it was a last minute thing. We were just sitting here in the pre-show, and Twitless was like, "Hey, you know, you could do this," and I was like, "Hey, I can get rid of the duck." Hey, wait a second.
Yeah, exactly.
I know how to make this happen. I know how to get people to shill out all their free eyeballs for stuff. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm excited about that. This is a show that we have been ever since Twitless came up with this idea for the Comics Creators Club. In the background, like Wormtongue himself, he's just been whispering, "Demon Hunter Raven and Omega Girl." So it's been going on for a few months, and finally I was like, "Oh, good God, can't you just stop it?" And so we're doing it. We're doing it.
All right, we're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. All right. So yeah, let's jump into it, and I hope you guys in the chat came with your copies. I was posting links for the past few days with links to get copies of those comics. You can still get copies of those comics and read along with us. Comics are a fast read, although Demon Hunter Raven Volume 1 is definitely longer than what I brought for today, so I felt a little ashamed. So
I was trying to figure out if I was reading one or more issues at once. Was it supposed to be like 70 pages long?
So I do them in chapters, but I release them in arcs. So like on Patreon, I'll do it by chapter, and then on Kickstarter, I'll release them by volume. So the individual ones never really get released physically.
Okay.
So
this is more of a graphic novel.
Yeah, anymore. I used to originally. I
got a bunch of floppies in the other room that I didn't pull out.
So you do kind of like a variant on what Rags does with their thing, only with less cheesecake.
Potentially more of that in the future. No, yeah.
Got to get in on that nun action.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, with the newest one, Radiant Rapture, where it's like I'm already releasing the chapters of that newest one on Patreon, and then next Monday we'll release the full volume.
Okay.
So.
Awesome.
So it's like a graphic novel.
So since we
basically,
started, since we're talking Demon Hunter Raven, I'm gonna pull up. We're gonna start with Demon Hunter Raven, and I have my pitch. I have my pitch ready. So we have a tradition here. We got a couple traditions on CCC that we're gonna.
It's there because there's no tradition like a new tradition.
There we go. Right. Well, it's so funny how they just kind of happen. So one of the traditions is that we have the creators pitch the other creators' work. So I'll be pitching Demon Hunter Raven, and then Nicholas can pitch Omega Girl, and it's just cool to kind of have someone else pitch your work for a change. So we love doing that. Okay,
now we got one thing we got to do if you're doing the pitch.
Yeah.
You got to have some music for it.
Okay.
I've just decided that has to happen.
Oh, no.
Well,
I like it.
How much energy are you going to put into your pitch?
I'm gonna try to doing my best movie trailer voice.
Movie trailer voice. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think this one. I think this one is the movie trailer. No. I think this one. No, that's not the one.
Yeah, it's a little more chill than I was going for today. Demon Hunter Raven.
It's not. You're not doing slam poetry. Come on.
Well, that's what this music makes me think of.
Yeah,
He's gonna slay some demons. Yeah.
You just pitched a comic.
We have the whitest people ever trying to do.
We got
That's
this
better. Yeah, we go. That's better. Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
You want to do like some face dances? Like he's gonna slay demons. Yeah.
Right, you might want to lower it just a little bit so we I don't get drowned out. Okay. In a world where demons prey on the innocent and the guilty alike, one young man is given the ability to fight the powers of darkness with the power of light. Adam is Demon Hunter Raven, slaying demons and fighting covens for the Mysterious Order, a religious group with its own agenda for our hero. Watch as artist Nick Mueller levels up his craft as his creation fights a battle that is both spiritual and physical. Radical! Yeah!
Oh, I'm gonna steal that. That was really good.
Unrelated comment, but
Logan, why would you just post an episode of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like that?
Well, it was on point we were talking about earlier.
it accidentally fits in perfectly.
That was really good.
I pre-wrote it.
Stealing that.
Okay.
I am stealing that.
All right.
You see, I would have went with like a royalty-free Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Angel kind of music to go with Demon Hunter Raven.
Well,
we probably
I have
should
like
have
6 options.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
now about uploading something. So
In the new Kickstarter video, I'll have that intertwined at the end. It'll be Twitless saying that in the video.
So Mrs. H says, "Wait, is this an advertisement for a monster truck rally?" Oh no, I don't know. It looks like you're
at the Expo Center in March.
Sunday.
Demon Hunter
Brought to you
Raven
by Rocky Mountain Coors.
Oh. Good job, is all I'll say.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, you went more into detail than I thought we were going to go for this pitch. I was just like,
Uh-oh. Meaning my pitch is 5 words.
She's got boobs.
Oh, jeez.
Read Omega Girl.
Okay. Well, let's.
Hey,
I got.
listen.
Okay.
Double X chromosomes. What do you want?
More, please.
So it sells itself. I've got Demon Hunter Raven pulled up because our second tradition that I'm really looking forward to doing here is we do voice acting as a kind of preview for our audience who have not yet bought into these books, and we try to do a little bit of that. Now, let me think. First off, we're going to show up the cover, and we got the 3 chapters here. So when you get volume 1, you're not getting just kind of one segment of a story. You're actually getting 3 chapters there. And what happens? It says it's 89 pages here. So, minus front matter, that's what? How many?
It's really like 83, I think.
83, yeah. So that's a chunk of content, ladies and gentlemen. And let's see. Actually, the good news about one of the good parts about Demon Hunter Raven is the fact it jumps right into things. So our voice acting can jump right into some awesome stuff here. So, all right, we need some volunteers here. So, who's going to voice Demon Hunter Raven?
Well, that first voice is the Crusader, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we need Crusader and I think Reese should be Crusader.
Okay, I can pull that off.
Yeah, because he's a little sinister.
He's a little sinister, a little cranky.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Nicholas should voice his character.
You think? Yeah, that's fair.
I'll do it.
Nicholas is like, what? No, no. Okay.
Well, you don't have to. Like, I think Marm could do it if you want.
Okay, wait. The Crusader or which character?
Or Demon Hunter Raven.
Demon Hunter Raven. Okay, I'll do it.
Oh,
Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
All right. So, and we usually do the first like 4 or 5 pages or so. So, how many other characters do we need to voice?
I must insist though,
Do we
because
get more than 2 characters in the first 5 pages?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's the one captured agent, and the witch lady.
Let's figure it out as we go. Let's figure it out as we go when we get to that.
I
next
nominate Twitless to play the witch lady.
Oh, gosh. Of course you would.
Put on your best Eartha Kitt's voice.
Oh my gosh! Fine. All right. Okay.
That's even funnier than I thought.
Let's get it started. So, Marm, whenever you're ready. Or sorry, so I think we start with Crusader, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Crusader starts first. Agent Vink went undercover to infiltrate the Witch Coven last week. As of 8 hours ago, we lost contact with him. This is a simple mission. Get in and get out.
Did they find him?
When we rescue the informant, we'll find out if he found out about your dad. What do you see, Raven?
You have defiled our sanctuary, made a mockery of our ways.
Well, this would be on yours, Marm.
No. Oh, you're sure? Yes, that's right. Yeah. Chief, you gotta move now.
What? What's going on? Give me your details.
I'm in the closet. I can get in there now. I'm the closest. I can get in there now.
You will make a fine offering to our Lord.
Negative. I say do not engage. Stay at your post and observe only.
What if he's in there? I can't just sit and watch.
Stay at your post, Raven.
No can do, Chief.
All right, we need a victim. Taylor.
Of course. All right, let's see here. Please don't. A terrible offering. You really don't want to do this. I taste terrible.
Not today.
What?
Kapow!
All right, we need the music back.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was too busy laughing. So, there we go.
There we go. Awesome.
Are we still going?
All right. Well, let's see here. Nick, do you want us to go another page, or should we?
It's up to you guys. It's up to you guys. The next 2 pages really kind of show off the real bits and bobs.
Well, let's do another page or so. Okay.
Put the knife down. This doesn't have to get messy.
Little bird, you speak so tough, but can you back it up? Kill him!
A demon? Color me surprised. I just have one question to ask. Where is my father?
Boom! Spread out. Priority is the hostage.
Look at all those colors.
I guess we're doing this last one.
You finally made it.
What did I say about not engaging?
Guys, please stop bickering and rescue me already! I haven't been in the last few hours.
Hang on. You're going down.
No mercy. They're not even gonna let that guy pee, huh? For our action-paced fight scene.
It's gonna be a stain on the floor.
There's something else. I'll tell you what. I really gotta pee. No. Just wait. I'll be right back. I swear.
Oh my gosh, that was even more epic when we put the music in, and it actually kind of fit.
Great.
That really worked along.
Yeah, it kind of fit. That was really cool.
That voice acting was on point, guys. That was really good. That was cool.
Yeah. It's just it's something we just came up with for CCC, and we just started really liking it, and it's worked out really well.
Okay, I think we should make this like a thing, right? Like its own mini thing. Like, have you guys ever seen what is it? I think it's called like Ball Buddy. He does these comics that are all about.
Oh yeah, I love his stuff.
Yeah. And then there's like a subcommunity that dubs them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to take the point to say when we came up with this, that was another one of Twitless's bright ideas. So,
and also. Bald Buddy has a sideline where his channel also features waifu versions of ancient Roman and ancient Germanic tribes. Well,
that's weird. I don't even know what to feel about that.
Right. Back to Demon Hunter Raven. Live on
Totally Radical Adventures of Demon Hunter Raven.
Boom, 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 boom. This Saturday morning, get your.
Yeah, I was gonna say
on.
it's like Fox Kids or something.
So
First up Sonic, then Turtles, now Demon Hunter.
So was that a legit inspiration though, like 90s action cartoons?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I think was it when did Saturday morning cartoons officially kind of just dry up? Like when did they stop doing this? Like 20
sometime in the aughts, I think, like 2008, 2009, something like that.
Yeah. So I think
they were a thing for a while when my kids were little, and about the time they stopped losing interest in Saturday morning cartoons stopped existing like entirely.
Yeah.
So my youngest was born in 2003, so
well, I mean, Cartoon Network made it so that cartoons last 24/7.
Right.
Well, yes.
So.
Right. Yeah,
well,
I would say.
I think actually what killed it was the fairness doctrine, but we don't want to get into that conversation today. I'm not even joking.
I'm gonna have to learn about this. What is the fairness?
I won't ask. He said he wasn't going to get into it.
Yeah, well,
I have to now.
Yeah,
I gotta know.
Okay, after show.
It's a deep cut politics.
After show.
That's
After
the
show.
master
Okay.
of just like dropping a topic and saying we're not going to talk about this incredibly intriguing topic right now.
Yeah.
No,
Hey guys, don't think about zebras.
Some of our best conversations are in the after show.
It's true. That is actually sort of one of my what do you call it? Tricks, I guess. It's one of my traits. I was like, I'm going to just like leave this in the wind and then not talk about it. Anyway, so
Google
Demon Hunter Raven. Yeah, let's
Demon Hunter Raven. Yeah. Let's change the subject from what I don't talk about.
So we also like to do is to kind of start the panel with just a general, like, what did you like about the book? And then we can kind of see where the conversation goes from there. And it's also, I also think that it's great for the creator to ask at least one question of the panel, because as creators, since we're all so ego driven, which we are, but we're always like, what did you think of X? You know, we put so much time and effort. We just want people to respond to that one thing that we put into the book. It's usually more than one, but when I say that one thing, there's usually something that pops into people's heads of, I really want people to respond to X. So, so Nick, you get to ask us a question as well, but let's start things with, we'll start with the bottom and work our way to the top. Maybe Cartoonicus, what did you like about Demon Hunter Raven? Well,
we didn't get to it in these 5 pages, and we certainly won't for a while, but, the amount, the amount of other things they start fighting, like all kinds of, crazy demon monsters and people turning into monsters and stuff. There was a point literally where I said to myself, this is like Bleach without the cringe. And that's a good thing.
That's funny because I'm a huge Bleach fan, so I tried not to show it too much, but that was a heavy inspiration for this book.
Well, one thing I noticed in this read through, there's a Bleach poster in Adam's room.
Yeah.
Oh, is it there? Can I see it?
Yeah, it's on.
No, the artwork, of course, is very well done. I appreciate really the style of this. As someone who is not particularly up on superhero universes, I like how much more reserved this is. It feels more like it's got this agency setting.
That's right. You love agency settings. I didn't even occur to me.
I love secret agents and stuff like that. It's just a whole lot more structured than your classic everything goes type of universe that Marvel and DC do. And I also like the dialogue. I think is very good. I was just noticing just now, really, the reason I think the music worked so well is because there's such a good pattern of dialogue that just bounces off each little jab one at a time that works off the previous line. I think it's very nicely structured. It has a good flow to it. And that makes it fun to read.
You're being called, Cartoonicus, you're being called out from the chats.
Remember, I'm the anti-anime guy in the group.
I've never seen Bleach, so I have absolutely no opinion. So
it's like Dragon Ball Z 2.0.
It really is.
I was gonna say, Cartoonist, didn't you watch the entire run of Soul Eater or whatever?
That was one of the few animes that I actually did get into, although as with many of them, as it goes on, it gets more anime-y.
Yeah. He's the anti-anime guy, and he watched the yeah, sure, okay.
Okay. Nothing is imperfect. Or I should say that.
Oh, here it is.
There's always going to be an anime here or there that I can get interested in.
Gotcha. Which page I can pull it up?
It's like page 11 or 12.
I'm not sure how to, because they're not numbered.
Oh, this PDF would be off, so it'd be like 18 or something.
So it's like his bedroom scene. I think I got it.
Yeah, when the dad's coming in there.
Yeah,
it's this panel right here.
Yeah, I littered that room. I wanted it to look like a teenager's room. I put up a bunch of things that would have been relevant towards someone that would have been a teenager within like 2006, 2004, something like that.
Hey, I know about I know about teenagers in 2004.
Oh, there it is. I see it. Okay, it's in the top left-hand corner there.
There's a ton of references in there to things that would have been trendy during that time. Like if you can notice, there's a Slipknot poster off to the side, and if you really zoom in on some of the pictures on there, there's tiny little things like the Dark Knight Returns.
Oh wow!
Scattered,
right.
But
let's see if I can.
There's an Avengers DVD.
Yeah. Yes. I don't remember what I all put in there. It was just it was something that was supposed to be fun for people. Like there's a Team NT.
Yeah, I see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there. Yeah, on the right. Yeah.
But I really don't remember what I put in there. I think I put like some action figures
too.
Turtles. Yeah.
Is that like Planet of the Apes there on the far right?
Is that Attack on Titan?
No, because I didn't know about those at the time.
Okay.
But I wanted to kind of show what this character's thought would have been with like Ninja Turtles, Slipknot, the sort of things that he would be into to kind of, without telling you, but being able to infer his sort of maybe habits or what he's into. So if like he's got a Slipknot poster, he's into like mainstream heavy metal. And then he's got comics, but they're indie comics, or the mainstream at that point. But
I notice he is drawing his own comics.
Yes.
Oh, nice touch. I like it.
And that becomes a bigger thing in volume 2. That's slightly noted, but that'll be a reoccurring thing that you'll see throughout the series.
I gotta admit, I did not pick up on this the first time.
Yeah, I have kind of a rule that I don't do narration boxes. I really want it to be like a movie where you are progressing, or like a show where you're progressing through it.
And I really appreciate that.
Thank you. I don't want it to feel stilted, and nothing against people that do that. I just
Speaking of which, pictures of Omega Girl.
But I'm the artist and the writer, so I can get away with a lot more page count than like what Twitless can, where you have to get so much across in a certain amount of time because you are paying for another artist and paying for another
colorist,
another thing. So I can afford to do more. Like the Ultimate Collection that's going to be in this next campaign has 200 pages. It has all 8 chapters. And there's only 3 chapters in this volume 1. Mm-hmm. And so I can afford to do that without financially breaking the bank and putting in a lot more than what a lot of other people can afford to do. Again, nothing against anyone that can do that.
We got chat blown up a little bit here. Neostar, good to see you. Drawn Talk says, finally, a episode of the Mattriarchy I'm interested in. Everyone's loving the Easter eggs. Cavalry Collective loves the Easter eggs. Mrs. H says, so when is the official crossover between Raven and Omega Girl coming out, and who is drawing it?
We're going to have to talk after stream.
Okay, right. That was some secret conspiracies there. And there is we're getting some background noise on someone's mic, it sounds like. So we'll work on it. But okay, excellent. All right, so that was Cartoonicus. Larry, what did you like about Demon Hunter Raven?
So first of all, when it's an action comic or an action story, I always like that we don't waste time. The only way this could have been better is if he was punching the monster in the face immediately in the first panel. But, obviously, you do want to set up a little bit so you understand what the monsters are. I get that. But, I always like a very quick beginning of the action. And this reminded me a little bit of which season of Buffy was the one where they had the cyborg demons?
Oh, that's later on, isn't it? Isn't that
Like, I
later
think
on
it's
in
like
the
a
run?
3 or a 4 season or something like that. It reminds me a little bit of that, and I kind of dug that. Are you from Minneapolis originally, Nicholas?
Yeah, within the suburbs. I am from Minnesota originally.
Okay. So I didn't know how good of a Minneapolis skyline that is.
It's completely made up. It's a hyper realized world, so that I can do whatever I want. Because Minneapolis isn't built in the way that I wanted to tell the story in, so I took creative liberties.
Okay.
How dare you not use a photorealistic version of the actual city for your superhero book?
I know.
Well, I don't know Minneapolis enough to know if it has its own distinct color for a city, because I'm live near Tampa. Tampa doesn't have a really distinct footprint. Orlando, the next big city nearby me, also doesn't have a distinct footprint. St. Petersburg is kind of weird.
Yeah, Minneapolis has a little bit of a distinct skyscraper. We had the Fauché Tower and that, but nothing real evident. We've got light rails. That's kind of a prominent thing, and then skylines where people can walk in between. That's mainly in the downtown area. That shows up a little bit more in Volume 3. But we mostly focus on street level stuff, so it's pretty so that I can draw quicker. It's pretty rudimentary in that way.
Considering the theme, is there ever going to be Saint Paul in there?
Well, actually, since we've expanded out, we did end up bringing in a different saint. Me and Matt worked on a prequel series called Saint Nick, and it's all interconnected. Saint Nick does play a huge role later on that we're not going to reveal yet.
Okay, so all right, I have to share this. Mrs. H, who's amazing, already made our meme for today. Yeah, here we go. We got to show that.
Oh, whoa! There's a pickle.
That's Spider Pickle.
Spider-Man!
It's Spider Pickle. He's become a little bit of a mascot for the show, and it's kind of hard. I'll give you the lore later. But
I still don't have the lore.
It would take too long to explain. But just he was created out of one of our streams, out of a random idea, and he's just kind of shown up all the time. He's really funny. Reese, you're muted.
I remember now. We were talking about multiverses.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about multiverses and how how the Spider-Verse kind of waters everything down and everyone is Spider-Man. You have Spider-Ham, and then I mixed the Rick and Morty thing and said I turned myself into a pickle. I'm Pickle Spider-Man, and there we go.
So I was on point there.
That was the lore.
Everyone's Spider so that was the
Once
What
everyone is Spider-Man, nobody's Spider-Man.
What's so funny is that Spider Pickle is really sad. He has this existential angst, so he's always crying.
Are we going to have to actually create a Spider Pickle comic now?
It's getting to the point where we might. So
we'll have to, if people like the extra bonus features, the music and stuff, maybe we'll have to have a special Spider Pickle comic that people can purchase to support the show. It's if we get 5 people to buy $5 a month, then we can keep having our sound effects.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Support the Mattriarchy so that we can keep this professional level of content coming your way.
Here, work up here. We're gonna try an appeal. Oh man, we just lost Taylor. I scared him away with the lo-fi.
Oops. Okay. I'm sure he'll be back in a second. So let's get back to Demon Hunter Raven. Larry, did you have any further thoughts, or should we move on to Marm?
Let's move on to Marm.
Okay, Marm, what did you like about Demon Hunter Raven?
All right. Well, I got to review, I think, issue 1 a few months ago. So this was my first chance to read issue 3. And to give you my TLDR on my first review, I liked Demon Hunter Raven, but I was a little confused. I think it was because I got issue 0 and issue 1. So I was hopping back and forth in time. And this volume puts things into a format that I think really helped with my initial problem. So it read a lot more sensibly to me in the PDF format. Also, there's some really strong, what I call it, like emotional aspects to Demon Hunter Raven that I resonate with. I really like how the main character's father plays a really prominent role in his early life. I like seeing fatherhood portrayed positively in media, and I think it was done very well in Demon Hunter Raven to give the main character his emotional core. And I really like how it's using Christianity as a subtext for a, like holy knight versus demon story. But then it also, it has the complexity that the kind of like Catholic Knight Templar type dudes, the Crusaders, they fight demons and the demons are evil, but the Holy Order isn't necessarily purely good themselves. So it's playing with, it's not doing the thing where people just, let's make the church bad and let's make the demons good guys, right? Because I've seen that a million times. But it is achieving, I think, like a real genuine moral gray area where the character, it's what's it doing? It's not morally relativist. It's just morally complex. I think that really adds to the ethos of the entire thing. So, sorry for using all the vocab words, but I'm really resonating with it and interested to see where it goes.
And one of the things I think is great about it is one of the things that we forget in our current political climate, but it would really serve us well to realize that sometimes everybody's the bad guy.
True. You brought up something really interesting there. Actually, I have to give a huge amount of kudos to Matt for helping me bring those original 0, 1, and 2 into a more coherent story. Because it really brought me to the side and said, like, hey, how are you writing this story? And he really helped me kind of reanalyze how I was telling this. So that's why the PDF form came out. It was actually because of Matt. He really helped me focus it better. So he's become kind of my part-time editor or full-time editor, really. He's looking over all my stuff right now. So because originally someone had said that the original first issue jumped around too much. So then I tried creating issue 0 as a way to add into it, but I wasn't smart enough to redo it or do it in a coherent, smart manner. So major props to Matt for helping me kind of make that a lot more coherent and consumer friendly.
Yeah. Editors matter.
Yeah.
Mrs. H says that apparently we missed the Uncle Ben's relish joke she made for another episode of Spider Pickle because Uncle Ben and he's made out of that's a tragedy right there. Okay,
that's dark. That got dark fast.
Yeah, it does.
Like, there's an entire lore for this parody character, and it's just
also
crazy.
A little before we move on further, if none of you guys are out there, want to know more about what Mrs. H has done. She has a really cool space adventure, old school adventure style comic called Captain Orange. It's on Global Comics. It's all free. There's 4 complete issues. Go read them. They're great.
They are good.
I need to do that. Okay,
Enough
awesome.
plugs.
Okay.
So, Twitless, what was your impression of Demon Hunter Raven?
Okay, things I loved. All right, first off, I love his character design. I think there's just something about it. Let me pull up some images again. And I'm going to ping up
less like a superhero, more like an agent.
Well, I would argue. I think he does a little bit of. Hold on, let me get back to.
He appears like he is ready for an operation.
All right, so here's some awesome things that I love. All right, so it's a good marriage between superhero and secret agent, because secret agent tends to be nothing but utility, and you can lose some of the flair. Demon Hunter Raven is clearly, very practical in some ways, but with that scarf, that's the flair, and the face play and things of that, and the color for his skin. All of these elements kind of help create a really cool identity that you need for a superhero. So he's very modern in that sense. And he blends this, again, the superhero aesthetic a bit with this very ninja aesthetic, I would say. I'm thinking of like Ninja Gaiden and some other stuff where they have that sort of like, flowing scarf-like thing. So I love that. So again, excellent character design. The character. Here's another thing about superheroes I think is really important is that oftentimes how cool that superhero is at a first glance can often help sell that story. And Demon Hunter Raven and his design sells his story. Like the minute I saw that character, I was like, "Dang, that character looks cool!" Yeah. so instantly you have like an instant interest just because of that alone. And
then it's also really good artwork that's portraying it too.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing that I love is he has a Clearman has a COVID-friendly style. He's
okay. Full joke there. In 2020, when we went through that, and I was just releasing it, everyone thought I was doing that on purpose. Like there was a small bit of people that I kind of got a little bit of like extra marketing because of that. People were like, oh, and it also didn't swing well with some people. I was like, no, I did that before this. So
definitely. So
Optimus Prime did it first.
Yeah.
So here's another thing that I love that Demon Hunter Raven does. It is a cool superhero adventure story that has, I would say, a spiritual core that somehow manages to escape a lot of the spiritual cliches that a lot of overtly Christianized. So I didn't say Christianized. So Christianized kind of stories end up being. Larry, we got a little bit of feedback there, bud. So Christianized stories where it's like we're gonna like Bible Man, right? When you think about like superhero stories that have a Christian core, people think Bible Man. And what's cool about Demon Hunter Raven is that you get like spiritual stakes. There's demons. There's the church. There's definitely a spiritual core to it. But we don't have like I am Bible Man. I'm going to whip out the sword of the Spirit, and I'm going to slay you by reciting a Bible verse and some puns. And there's nothing wrong with Bible Man, by the way. But if there's something cool that you can take this seriously and have fun with it. But at the same time, it's got, like I said, some spiritual core, and it doesn't do what a lot of secular writers do, which is I have to deconstruct Christianity. I have to make the priests all villains. And so you even manage to kind of like walk this interesting line with the Order. The Order isn't necessarily we're all the good guys, but they are fighting the really, really bad guys. So even if things are a bit morally gray, which it actually gave it a very interesting flavor. And so, like I said, just the way you've set all that up with a just awesome character is, and even the Templar guy, just those character designs are just they're really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do have to say my main goal was to not beat you over the head with. Obviously, I'm a Christian, and I wanted to show that in my work, but I also wanted to use the ability to do parables. Like I said, nothing wrong with Bible Man, but I think that's more on point for like kids. You want to teach them that sort of stuff, ingrain it into their brain. But for us, we're adults. No one likes to be preached to. We all want to kind of infer our own thoughts and be challenged. And that was kind of the route that I wanted to go to. And also I wanted to write, like, would I personally want to read something like that? Would I enjoy that? And the obvious answer is no. So why would I make that? So,
well, and call me out if I'm wrong here, but half the time it feels like things like that aren't even being made by people who actually believe it. They're just like trying to put together what they think will sell.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that comes to one of the things I think Demon Hunter Raven does, and I think like Doug Ernst Soulfinder does this too, is rather than trying to win the argument about the truth claims implicit within the story, you just let the story be the story, and it tells. And it's already built on those truth claims. So it's like in Double Indemnity, right? You don't have to understand that. I think it's Veronica Lake is like, a soul-rending harpy, right? Mm-hmm. Because you see her like tear into Fred McMurray's soul, So, nobody. It's show and not telling. So,
right.
I think, and that's in all visual media. That's such an important part of it.
Exactly.
So I also want to dovetail into something Twitless said earlier about the design. The character of Demon Hunter Raven screams, "This should have been an action figure." Obviously, to be like a higher end action figure, there'd be like a few slight tweaks you might want to do to the design, but it looks like it's ready to have a prototype action figure made out of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
There might be a possibility that in the far future, it's just funding and the right people.
Though I don't know how you're going to get the action figure to pull off this move.
It's possible. It's possible. We got Brian Ball in chat. Never Beer Brian is here. That was one other thing I wanted to mention. The other thing I love about this character is that there's an edge to him because he's very reminiscent of was it Soul Reaver for the PlayStation?
Oh my gosh, the amount of people that said they thought this was a Soul Reaver ripoff, I was like, I don't even know what that is. But because of it now, I know what it is. The best one I've got though is they thought he was a zombie version of Genji from Overwatch.
Oh gosh.
But that's when you know you're resonating with people, when they can kind of infer like, oh, did you base it off of this? And you're like, no. And I'll say this right now, Brian Ball is the only person that actually figured out where I got my inspiration from for his design. And I think it's really funny because he ended up, for the Sailor Rogowski universe, ended up going back to that design, and he did something really cool and brought that to the forefront. But you'll have to wait to see that later.
Okay.
So,
you know what's interesting is up until the last few pages when he takes off his mask, I didn't even realize he had blue skin. I thought that was a mask underneath the mask.
Oh yeah. You play too much City of Heroes like me. when you can do put those characters.
You know what? Especially considering the artwork, this definitely does look like a City of Heroes character.
Oh,
I used to love City of Heroes, and I know Twitless loved that game too. And
I have Omega Girls in it. She's we can get to that later. But I think it's down to Reese.
Yeah. So my interest with it was from the narrative perspective. I loved like the little bits of world building and story elements that were peppered through it. And I love how Nick told a story it's not lore heavy. It's action based. It's like pulls you along like a tentpole movie through the stuff. But at the same time, there's these little hints of the alternate history that are just peppered through it enough to make you be like, "What? Well, this is different. Well, this is different. Well, this is different." And so he's building this world where it has its own rules and they're coherent and cohesive, and it makes sense of it all. And so
behind the scenes, it doesn't though.
Maybe sometimes. But you were able to do it in a way that made it feel very real, and it wasn't like. So that's what I loved about it. And
it's almost as if it's good writing.
Well, thank you.
Metal says City of Heroes, more like City of Zeros. Got him.
Oh.
Somebody doesn't like MMOs.
He said JK, no. City of Heroes was actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's just the metal being the metal.
Sorry, you were saying there, Nick?
No, it's funny you bring that up because I think Matt's probably the only person here that knows that. Well, I mean, and obviously Marmaduke, you knew that from reading the first version that came out. Was this? It's because of the people that have come in and helped me kind of steer and get me focused to get a narrative path put in place, and also Brandon Hollisworth from Brainy Pixel when he came on from Volume 3 really helped me kind of focus in on the lore, because I was just making it up as I went. Because before this, Raven's design looked way different. He was just all blue with a scarf. He was kind of like a Spider-Man looking character. The very first version, like I call it the pilot episode, was really sort of, it was bad. It was bad. And so I'd always been under this mindset that things were going to fail, and I'd always have to go back to the drawing board and start everything all over. And it took a while to realize that people were buying the product and staying with it. So I'd always been under this mindset, well, I'm going to have to restart everything, so why get attached to any of it? So by the time I got to Volume 3, I realized that I wasn't coherently connecting dots. And so that's why you had like issue 0 and that stuff that were just kind of randomly placed in things. So I really give it up to those guys for helping me kind of focus and getting things put together, because it's allowed us to branch out even further with like with Matt, what we did this back in November with Saint Nick, and telling expanded stories that are telling a much larger overarching story that will, like when you finally get to those pieces, it will be like this giant catharsis of like, oh man, they've been playing this long game this whole time. So we've got like 10 years worth of stuff planned right now.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with what part I had to play with it, which was really fairly minimal. Because it was like all the pieces of silverware were already on the table. It was they just weren't necessarily put in the right order. So
Right.
you forgot about the second course, and so you just got to move that fork into the middle.
Well, when you came in and we started talking about that, because I'm not very well versed in the middle portion of a story. Like I understand the beginning and the end, but I think it takes a lot of energy to think of how do you take someone through that middle. Like how do you keep building up without giving away the ending? And the original jumped right into the ending. It was just like, no, we're not doing a middle. We're going straight to the end. It was nonstop punching, no build up. So Matt, if you guys got into chapter 3, Matt wrote a majority of that ending, or the build up to the ending to establish that.
I noticed your names in the credits. I was wondering about that.
Yep. Yeah. So this isn't just a stream with yours truly and Nick. We're sneaking Matt in there as well.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm uncomfortable with the number of projects I've been featured on with this segment. Which is 3 of the 4 times you've done this show.
Right. Don't worry. As we expand, we'll get rid of you.
Eventually, we'll have to do something you have to work on, right?
Oh no.
But if you are an aspiring creator and you need a little help peppering your story up, Matt's available for a reasonable rate.
That's true. Sometimes I work for art.
There you go.
Okay, so let's move a little more into maybe some. Does anyone from the panel have questions about Demon Hunter Raven? And this is going to be a good prep for when we have the call-in segment, which we're going to have, where you, the chat, can call in and ask creators questions about these books. Does anyone from the panel have a question about? It definitely has to be less than 50, right, or something.
Will the history of the Demon Hunters will that be brought back in a future issue? Will that be like reincorporated into like future packages? Okay.
Yes. Yep. Right now with the Radiant Rapture. So right now I'm establishing the prehistory. We're going all the way back in time to tell about the founding of the order, and how did it drift so far away from what it was originally set up as. So we're going to build back into that, and that will be coming out again next year. We're also going to be driving a bigger narrative path as to how did the Lightstone that Raven carries, how did they find it in France, and how did it end up all the way over in Minneapolis, Minnesota? Because Minneapolis, Minnesota isn't really a relevant place for a lot of things. So we're also setting up why are all these spiritual activities occurring in this one region, and then
it was a bargain that Al Franken made with the devil.
No, jeez.
I kind of want it to have something to do with a Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones,
Indiana.
Oh, yeah. So that's the fun part is now since that Demon Hunter has become part of this thing that we're calling the Divine Anomaly, where we allow for more larger stories, like with Paul Tucker's Sunchild, and with the Radiant Rapture with Naomi. We can kind of interconnect or intertwine several stories that allow us to like do stuff like that. Because one of the fun things was like a few people came up to me like, well, you're doing Demon Hunters, so who are these other guys that are out there? And we started talking about the ability to do things outside of the order, the larger organizations, and get into these small groups because other people would be affected by these sort of issues and stuff. So we're slowly building up a universe, but without making it hard to get into.
Cool. I like someone who does his world building.
Well, thank you. It's a slow burn right now, so we're kind of building up so that everyone can get to know the characters and take it all in, because we want to show every aspect and every corner of like where things are coming from, and I don't know, it's just kind of fun to dig into some of this stuff.
Persnickety art question. What do you use for perspective and cityscapes, background scenery?
I it all. I do like a very sort of informal graph system, but just enough. Like I use a lot of just 1 point perspective, and then I'll build on top of it, and I'll kind of eye it till it looks good. So I might have a reference up in front of me to kind of get an idea of like how far back the buildings need to go. But I come from a family of architecture, so that kind of, I wouldn't say comes naturally, but it's always been around me in terms of drawing extreme landscapes and stuff like that. Sometimes eye in it works, sometimes it doesn't, but also at the same time, I know what I'm going to use to kind of hide some of those errors if it works out okay, because I like to overly litter the page in some cases. But yeah, I don't really use anything because I work on an iPad with Clip Studio, but traditionally I would have used a ruler and everything like that.
So I got a question, and my questions might be a little bit uncomfortable considering the Christian content here, but let's talk about demons. So I'm not. You can tell me as literal as much as you want, because like I said, I'm going off of the first volume here. Do we get into like the sort of like demonology? Did you do research into some of that? Like, do we get to see some? It's kind of weird, but there's actually like in like demonology in the occult, there actually is there's named demons. They have like certain personalities, ways they're usually drawn. Like
right.
A Dramalek is often drawn as a goat, stuff like that. Do we get any of those or any mythological, demonological kind of things?
In other words, is this the show Supernatural?
No, because I kind of want to just do my own thing and leave it open to interpretation. Okay. We might reference that thing, but I'm really just kind of playing off of my own mythology and just kind of doing something fun. But we do have a demon ranking system. And we work off of, since this story is an emotionally driven story, the demons themselves are based upon emotional spectrums. So like demons in this world, if you're a very low level demon, they only care about feeding off of people's negative emotions or negative energies. And that's what basically fills them up and makes them stronger. And then once they rank up higher, once they've consumed enough of your spiritual energy, they become higher ranking ones. And they then bypass this sort of feral beast, like savage, like in sort of mindset, and they become more sentient. And then within that parameter, they are then able to maybe do possessions, possess people, or influence people. Up until that point, they're more feral, savage, and
so a little bit like the Hollows from Bleach. I can see some of the connection there.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I wanted to keep it real simple so that, but there will be higher ranking ones. We call those Omegas, and they are the ones that control, can have armies. And
Omegas. So that might cause some issues for our crossover.
Also, it's kind of like Chainsaw Man a little bit. The demons in Chainsaw Man are entirely based on manifestations of fear.
Yeah.
So, like the demon who's like connected to school shooting is like overpowered for his actual influence.
Yes. Yeah. I just read Chainsaw Man during the summer last year. So I hadn't quite made that connection, but after reading that, it gave me a little more clearer sense how to approach that, because they do it so well. The idea of the dominion they carry. So I will definitely say that I looked at that in terms of way of setting up systems more coherently.
No, I like that you're making your own system. I think it's great to reference. I think it could go either way. Sometimes it's good to kind of like reference current mythology. Sometimes it can be really limiting in some ways when you're just like, I have to go with all this like research and have to stick with the actual archaeological version of this somehow. And then you get writers like Grant Morrison who love to show off how much they read that week about the occult.
I know that can play off in a larger form for people that do know that, because then they'll be like, oh, he's touching upon that. Yeah. But as an artist, I've never been big on reading, so that tends to be my weak point. As I don't research that sort of stuff. I tend to research more visual aspects.
Yeah, that was Stan Lee's way of doing it. Stan Lee's like, I ain't doing all that reading.
Right.
And that was literally his approach, and he made the MCU.
I wouldn't know a gamma ray if it snuck up and bit me in the behind.
His entire gamma radiation and that.
Yeah,
stuff.
but it sounded cool, so we used it. So yeah. All right. So Brian says, what about the alphas?
I can't say anything yet because that might be something.
So something that I was wondering the whole time, actually, what is the difference here, both in, I guess, existence as well as motivation? The demons that seem to affect people spiritually versus the ones who can actually attack you physically.
So it depends on their level and their ranking. Level ones have to. So what they do is level one is like your imps that you saw in that quick nightmare scene where him and his dad were hunting. They feed off of you, and the rules in this world is the more they feed off of you, the more drained you get, which leads you into anxiety, depression, and potentially suicide or death. But that's a long gestated thing, depending upon how far down you go down that spiral. Once though they have and I haven't quite determined like what amount of level you need to be a level 2. But once you've entered that classification of level 2, you're now able to enter in a physical sort of way, which we'll be exploring more in Radiant Rapture. We'll be exploring that sort of So at what point are they only allowed to be spiritual, and then when do they become physical? And a lot of that times that's what the relics kind of expand upon, of forcing them into a physical sort of way, like putting them into like weapons or armor or something like that to get them physically into the worlds. And a lot of times they have to possess someone to enter or become physically manifested. I think it's only the Omegas at this point that can actually they don't need to possess anything. They can just show up at their own. But
so what was this lady here?
The witch lady.
Yeah, so the witch, she would be so that's part of the coven, and they're more we're diving into them in volume 3. So she's kind of a precursor, and so she's a hybrid. She's like a vampire demon lady, and so that's part of the Nocturnal. They are worshiping a certain thing called the Nocturnal, and it allows them to take on.
This is a human character who chose the wrong path.
Yes, and they are worshiping them.
I've been told to ask by Brian, what is that weird male-shaped pillow behind you?
What? Oh,
which one? Because I've got.
I think that's a guitar.
Oh, this one back here. That's my wife's cello.
Yeah.
She plays in the.
So there you go,
band.
Brian. You mixed an instrument for an instrument.
Yeah, my wife's part of the worship team, so she plays cello up on stage.
So back to our Bible comic.
Yeah.
So later on, we do see someone who has clearly been attacked by something. What was that, and how did that fit into that? I'm not trying not to spoil anything, but
yeah. You can give a better description because
there's lots of attacking that happens in this.
Yeah, there's a few.
There's some gore.
Are we talking about the little girl?
Oh, that's right. Because yeah.
If you want to, is it in chapter 3?
I don't know. It was all one big PDF for me.
Oh, okay.
That's why I didn't know how it was structured at first.
Yes. So there's like a demon eater or something like that. That would probably be like a level 2. So he's probably possessed someone and has taken on the form of something and has used.
Okay.
So this is explained more in volume 2. There are certain demons and people that have learned the ability to take hold of your. So in this world you have regular eyes and spirit eyes that allow you to see in the spirit world and see those things. And some people are able to kind of create illusions or tap into it and make you see something else, or make you see an image that's not really there. So that might have been a false image. We kind of left that open for interpretation. That might have been like a bait in a sense, to draw people in.
Okay.
There's that Saint Nick again.
Oh, is that what that was?
It's crazy. Things just keep going weird with the stream. I don't know.
All right.
So are we gonna have the angels at some point?
Yes, it's a ways away. We're building up to. I don't want to give much away, but right now in Radiant Rapture and the rest of Demon Hunter, we will explore the other realms and dimensions that these spiritual beings inhabit. We're just dealing with the physical reality right now, but there is very far down. We will jump into those aspects.
I want to see a character based on Roma Downey.
Robert Downey Jr.
No,
Roma Downey from Touched by an Angel.
Oh.
How old are you, Cartoonicus?
Not as old as you, to be honest.
I know.
The real question is how old were Cartoonicus's parents when they were watching television? That's the real ticket. That's what you get the answer there.
There you go.
Oh man. Okay, that I'm actually going to consider doing that.
So, Paul, who earlier refers to himself as the Saint Paul of BMR, which I thought was funny. So Nick and I have done a battle hippie. He's now doing a battle nun. We're getting ready to do a battle ready version of your grandma.
2025 battle demon.
Battle nun. I like
grandma.
that. Nun Fu.
Nana's gonna be demon hunting. But that does become an ongoing joke because all of our characters are demon hunters. So it's like, can we do anything outside that box? You'll have to find out.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Oh,
This is
a good page.
Such a great shot.
It's a good shot.
Well, thank you. This is one that Matt set up, and so the way me and Matt tend to throw stuff at each other is we do a very Marvel way of doing it, where he'll throw me a plot outline, and then I'll come up with thumbnails for it, and then we'll kind of go back and forth and we switch that up a little. So I think we really work off of that energy of being like, how much more can we top what the other person just gave us? So it keeps things lively.
Yeah,
and there's been some talk about script formats.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
People talk about how to do it, and the way Nick and I have kind of done this, for those who are curious, is I'll come up with a 2-paragraph, sometimes even 1-paragraph breakdown of what the story is, just like a quick elevator pitch. And if he likes it, then I'll turn that into an outline, where I have a suggested number of pages I think all this stuff will take place in, and then so far Nick cuts about 4 of those pages out in his drawing of it. Then he'll take the outline and turn it into thumbnails, and then I'll write the dialogue. Usually the outline has dialogue notes in it, but then the actual dialogue will happen after the thumbnails are done.
I like what Neostar Productions says here. Just keep the angel's eyes to a minimum of 2, please. I don't want any multi-eyed abominations in my timeline.
We'll probably go more Renaissance, more classical version, but they may have true forms or whatever you want to call it hidden behind those facades.
Foreheads.
I'm sorry, I had to step away for just a second. I was just going to say that I think I usually do the more of the DC script method, but I do think, hearing kind of like what you're saying there, I do think there are some benefits to that Marvel method in some places. There's pros and cons to both approaches.
Yeah, I think it depends on who you're working with.
Yeah, you got to be with someone that you can really trust to handle those things.
And I've worked with people at different stages in their career, so to speak,
right?
Where they'll feel like they want or need more handholding or in different ways at different times. So when we were hammering that out, that was just sort of like my process is always like beginning, middle, and end, and then I break it down into a plot point outline. And then I break that outline into a page outline, and then I dialogue it, or do the panel breakdowns and dialogues from there. So that's just how I do it anyway, because it helps me make sure I have all my pieces in place.
Yeah, and that when you guys see Saint Nick, that was kind of him telling me visually where we need to go with things, and then us kind of narratively figuring out what's going to be the best way to cinematically kind of tell that.
Gotcha.
So I used to do it. Just I don't know what you call a blank page style, where I'd start with my 3-point outline in my head, and then I just write. I kept getting bogged down at the end of the second act with trying to make it all fit, and I quit that. Even on an 8-page script, I found myself having problems with that. So I was like, needs needs some other kind of formatting. So.
I mean, it worked for Jack Kirby, Stan Lee and Kirby. Have them fight God. There goes Galactus. Like, it's just like sometimes those collaborations just work.
Right. But then me and Paul, when we're doing Sunchild, that's more of a cinematic DC style. It's very, it's very on the point. He knows exactly what he wants, and he's trying to tell a very detailed, sort of specific story.
Yeah. It takes all types.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So this page right here is where I first said, like, oh, it's like Bleach.
What?
I totally took that monster from Bleach a little bit too, from the second chapter. Like, I wanted to kind of pay back homage to it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
See, I've never read Bleach or seen Bleach or anything, so
when you were giving me
this
this
was
outline,
basically how the first episode opened.
You know, now I got an idea for a show. We all boomer explain to Matt about Bleach and other anime and manga.
Okay, read Bleach, don't watch it, because like the whole point of Bleach is that he likes black and white, right? That's why it's called Bleach. So the art
really?
is all like black and white, yeah.
Oh, is that why their costumes are all black and white?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
he talks about this in his notes. He's obsessed with the idea of black and white as a stylistic element, right? So I just don't think it should ever have been made into an anime.
That makes sense. Like, it's the artwork in the manga is really dynamic. Oh, Nick, before we move on, did you have a question? Or no, not did you. What is your question for the panel that we can answer? It's the thing that you go, guys, did you notice, or what did you think of blank?
I guess for me personally, the twist at the end. I know a lot of people tend to not like those sort of changing of guards or that sort of change or suddenly throwing that like sort of twist on you. So I guess I'm asking, did I pull that off well enough that it kept you, or didn't make you go, oh, dang it? Like, what did it come off naturally, or did it feel like it was coming from a mile away?
Well, I will admit there's one character early on who the second I saw him, I was like, wait a minute. Is this going to be one of those things? What I was not expecting was for the entire gosh darn thing to end up that way.
Oh.
I'm speaking in code, trying not to spoil it.
Right. Right.
I'm still wondering if
spoiler warning, right?
What's up?
Say spoiler warning and then just give it up.
At this point, spoiler warning, because we're already into volume 3, and I have already revealed that the Crusader himself is getting a new series this July and June. So at some point, that story part will be becoming a large narrative vessel. So anyone at this point that has not read the book,
I was hoping he would have a bigger part.
Yeah, he got a lot of fan reaction, and at that point, I was never going to go and return to that character. But a lot of people said that they want to learn more about him in the organization. So
when everyone was reading him, did anyone else hear the voice of Liam Neeson in their head?
I did, but when he did the training montage, because that was definitely a reference to Batman Begins.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There's quite a few of those splintered throughout the series.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually
a combination of all sexy voices in the Crusader. So Liam definitely fits into that broader category.
So to answer your question, I'm still a little bit. It seemed almost like that ending was like there needed to be, in my head, the back of my head was saying there has to be more to this, you know. And so part of me was like, even like, should I fully trust in what's going on here? Because the turn was so stark in some ways. I was like, I'm wondering, like, is there more to this story? Is there like maybe like a demonic illusion kind of going on, a manipulation, some puppeteering? Like, I had a lot of like alternate theories kind of playing out in my head that I was like, is there more to this scene? Will this scene get revisited and maybe recontextualized in a way where Raven's like, oh, okay, you know, maybe they're not the best of guys, but you know, maybe a demon was pulling the strings that made them look so, because I could imagine a demon who like makes you see your fears or see your prejudices or something. And I don't know, there was just a part, to me, the way it came across is that scene was just so stark in some ways that I was like, I'm wondering if there's something else going on there. But I do need to add one more thing, which is the fact that when Raven does his like like, you know, his turn, and he's like, I'm not having this. The way you artistically like leveled up in a way, like just, I don't know, just something about the art that just seemed to even get more detailed and dynamic in some ways. And that I loved, because it was almost like the stuff that had happened before was almost sort of dreamlike, and now it's getting real. And like, I really liked that. And like, I almost got chills.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
By seeing that. And so I was like, dang, that's cool. Like, so yeah, there's something that you can kind of play with when you, especially when you're doing some manga inspired styles, where it's like, this scene has much more detail in it because you're supposed to take it more seriously. And I think I'm detecting a little bit of you maybe doing that, and I approve.
I drew the inspiration from Taikubo because his non-important scenes, he wanted them to almost have like no background. He wanted you to kind of just go like, okay, go from dialogue page to page to page. But then those really important moments, he really wanted you to feel the impact of those moments. So I really wanted to play off of that sort of thing. And Greg Capullo, however you say his name, the artist from Batman and Spawn and that stuff, also talks about those big moments, about making sure that it hits you right in those moments, that you're building up to that, and you really wanted to you want to leave them with that sort of impression.
Awesome.
Yeah, see, for me, what was interesting is that the whole time I was getting frustrated with the fact that we've got this classic type of hot-headed, messed up kid who I don't like, and it's clear I'm not supposed to like him, right? And yet, every single time, what's his name? The Crusader is like wrong about everything, and he's right. And I'm like trying to put these two together, and then the twist comes at the end. I was like, oh, now it makes sense. And suddenly we're going to totally switch up mentors, apparently. At least that's the way it looks like.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, this is neat. I get where this is going. Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard to play off because so many people ended up liking the Crusader that he was supposed to be the overarching villain, that I ended up having to somewhat retroactively make him somewhat compassionate, or maybe.
And I like that angle too. That's another whole great twist to.
Yeah, and we're gonna dive more into that in his series this summer. Paul Tucker, who's in the chat right now, has been helping me craft that story to give him kind of more of an in-depth personality, because we don't really explore anything about him in this series because it's not about him. It's more or less our perception of him, but we'll be driving into more of his personality, like why is he so loyal? Why would he go about doing these actions? How soon are we going to see a crossover with Reiserman?
Well, I have to ask that. Okay. Nick, how soon are we going to see a crossover with Reiserman?
Me and Neil have been talking about doing a crossover with Violet, who shows up in Volume 2 of Demon Hunter. He's been wanting to do something with her for a while, so I'm sure that at some point Raven will show up. And if you guys continue reading this series, in the next part, we introduce another Demon Hunter, and her name is Violet, and she's not all she appears to be.
So we're creating a whole cinematic universe here.
Yes, not on purpose either. It just kind of went this way.
Marm and Larry, what was your response to the twist?
To me, we've talked a lot about the shonen inspiration. But pardon me, since we've talked a lot about the shonen inspiration, it feels like a very shonen twist, and it's something I didn't necessarily see coming, even though it's a fairly common story element. So that was good. But now that we were talking about like how Bleach inspired this, I'm going, oh yeah, that really stands out to me now. Like going, yeah, that. Had I been completely engaged in that part of my creative brain, I was like going, oh yeah, I would have seen that coming now if I was thinking that way.
Yeah, and I think that was the hardest part, is making sure that it didn't come off as too like right away that we were going to go in that angle. And I was really worried about that because but in the original version, it went straight into that, and it was almost not given any sort of change or any room to breathe. We were just kind of shown that portrayal right away.
I mean, like I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. I can see the Bleach influences, but I'm not like, oh, this is just Bleach. There's a lot of it that stands out
without
on its
the
own.
cringe. It's without the cringe.
You don't have like the Soul Society arc where it's like we're like halfway crucifying, sacrificing someone to a giant bird phoenix thing. And yeah, like
that's later.
Oh, okay.
And 500 years ago,
to do that.
And 500 years ago, this happened. And we're going to take a break from the action of the show to talk about that.
Yeah,
okay, now we're back to the main show.
That's Berserk. Berserk's the one where it's like Berserk's the one where they do a side story flashback that takes so long it becomes the story.
Right.
Yeah.
That's actually what Radiant Rapture ended up being. That's why I'm differentiating the series, because I was always like, well, now we're not telling in Bleach, we're not telling Ichigo's story anymore. We're telling the Soul Society story. I just felt like those could have been two separate series almost. So that's what we're trying to do here now is differentiate the modern from the past, so that they're tangentially being told, but they one affects the other. Like Radiant Rapture's story here is going to affect the Crusader story this summer, because I want to tell the past story with the present day story, and again explore those roots of like why is the order the way it is. But if it was established on good merits, good intentions, what caused it to get poisoned along the way?
Oh, speaking of poison, Brian wants to know, is Crusader toxic?
What? That I will leave for interpretation. Yes and no.
Taylor, just Google Toxic Crusader. Marm, what did
Hold
you
on,
think of
before I
twist?
Google something, should I actually Google this?
It's not bad.
That's pretty safe.
It's not porn.
Yeah.
I think the twist of the order being evil and asking him to execute on that, it's kind of like alluding back to like what I liked about the series overall is what I liked was the morality of the church versus demons, and then the twist I think helps this work. It's really what's making this kind of like unique from a lot of like Christian fighters versus vampires or voodoo zombies or whatever. So the twist is that the church exists and the church is doing good work, but the order, the Crusader Knights have been corrupted, right? The strength of his training sequence with the Crusader helps sell that, because your initial angle is, okay, this is like a mentor, this is like a Kakashi to the young Naruto, and now he's up against someone who can kick his ass, right? So now Raven is becoming like a single guy against the world. Like he's not on the demon side and he's not on the order's side. So it's a great setup for putting him alone in the wilderness with no one to back him up. So I'm really interested in why the order has become corrupted, and I'm interested to see the fallout in how Raven has to kind of like deal with the supernatural world of demons he's got to fight, but then also a anti-demon element that aren't necessarily on his side either. So it's a great, I mean, it is a classic hook in a lot of fiction, but it's a great hook for making this world feel dangerous for the hero.
Well, thank you. I'm going to take notes on that because that is what we're trying to build up to right now. In 2025, we're going to have an event that draws into all of those aspects that you're talking about. So right now, every title is going to be building up to a moment that addresses that very narrative path that we're trying to build up to. But we want it to feel natural and answer as many of those things, but yet leave you guessing in some ways, because we really want to draw. We wanted this to be character specific in a certain way, and show the other organizations and how these people respond to this stuff as well.
Right on. Okay. So Reese, did you have a thought that you wanted to make regarding the twist before we move on, I guess?
Not particularly.
I don't know how much Matt can say since he's part of the
he's part of. He actually, it's like, well,
he knows what's going on.
So,
well, I think the only thing comes to it is that one of Nick had mentioned one of my suggestions when I first sort of approached him about it was just like I was just chatting and saying, hey, I think you should have a couple of extra moments before, kind of spread it out a little bit. And he's like, yeah, that's why I did the issue 0. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know, but issue 0 was 15 pages. So
yeah, it didn't really. And once you helped me explain that to me about like, no, it doesn't do anything.
It
but it didn't do enough.
Yeah, it was, and I think actually when you put the collected volume together, the way you paste them, really brought that narrative flow around a lot. So,
well, that's a major thanks to you though, because that was it was a mess, but then also people's reactions to it, because issue 0 shouldn't have been issue 0. So many people are jumping in there going, well, then it doesn't. It was kind of it was a bit of a mess.
Okay, but, so chat's getting antsy. So let's do a short Q&A segment where chat can hop in stream, ask a quick question of you, Nick, and then we'll move on to Omega Girl.
Yes, I'm excited to talk about Omega Girl.
Awesome. All right. So
so does one of us have to get kicked?
No. See, I use so much money to pay for the premium package, and you can pin that, Reese, to the you can pin that message.
Yeah, he really wanted to do this. So,
well, this is exciting.
Ixthus is just, like I said, chomping at the bit. So let's not delay. So if you have a question for Nicholas and Demon Hunter Rainer, if you enjoy Demon Hunter Rainer and Demon Hunter Raven, and you just want to tell Nick how much you enjoyed it, and you want to get a virtual autograph, hop on in. Reese just posted the link in chat. So Ixthus, you're
oh, somebody's here. Oh, hey, it's Ixthus.
What is up? Total excellence, dude.
Hey, buddy.
He's in on that Saturday morning cartoon stuff.
Good to see you, Ixthus. How's it going?
Good. And you, Twitless, how are you, dude?
Doing all right.
Oh man, great. I was patiently answering till it was time, and now it is that time. So I've read all of the Demon Hunter Raven books. Okay, not flexing here. But what I've noticed with the series, as well as with your spinoff with Sunchild and Saint Nick and all this stuff, I feel like there's this connection with something about family and how much power it is within the absence of such things like Raven's character. Spoiler alert, peeps, if you haven't read it, there's an absence of a loved one or someone that is present. It seems like even though they're present in their life, like still, like, they're still doing terrible things that, when you look at your parents, like they're basically God to you in some way. So I just want to know, like, how much are you diving into these characters and within these themes of like, like just not only like characters that have like trauma or some sort, but something that more of within the line of like how much is of a loved one, or whether they're present or within their absences, how much has changed their way of thinking and as well as their motivation.
So I would say that is primarily the main thing that I build off of right away for any of these characters that are coming out. Because it almost seems like you can't make a character unless like you're using the Batman origin, like, oh, their parents died, like, oh man, now they got to go right some wrongs. Yeah. So you kind of draw off of that, and then also from personal experiences on my own from the traumatic events, because I wanted to help other people that were in the same position I was to tell them that there was like a silver line at the end, or there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that it's not gonna be the way it feels like right now. It's you can make better out of it, but using story as the applicable manner to show that. So family is a huge part. Fathers, mothers. I wanted to explore the dynamics that those people play in our lives, especially in modern day society where that seems to not be such a strong part of our culture anymore. It seems like we're more into casual things, and we've gotten away from the Christian aspects. Whether you agree with them or disagree with them, I think they had a very strong structure that had a high moral place, and really gave way towards strong character. I think we can see from a societal point of view that even just having good male father role models in the household does different for kids. And as being a father myself, I can say that that's really important to me to put that out to people. And then also from the point of view of people that maybe don't have a family, the extended or the adopted family aspect of how do you navigate that coming from a divorced family or adopted or orphaned. You don't have that concrete, that foundation. You always feel like you were abandoned. So we really want to kind of tie into those themes of left out, shunned, isolation, and really come from those character point of views, and how even damaged people are deserving of love, mercy, and grace and respect. So I'm always drawn to those type of characters too, because going through the things that I went through, I want to establish that it's you're just as loved for your imperfections as you are for all those little traits and issues that you might hold. It's good to hear from you, buddy.
Yeah. It's good to get to be from the other side of the chat.
Yeah. We got to do a stream soon for the launch. If you're up for that.
Oh yes, dude, most definitely, man. Yeah, you and I have to connect soon, and we'll make that happen, man.
You let me know when you're available.
I'm available whenever you want me to be. No, I'm kidding. That's just out of context.
That sounds like a date.
Smoochy.
All right.
It's just bromance. Come on.
Yeah,
it is a bromance.
It's just bromance, yeah, between two guys.
That was 5 minutes.
I can't carry it for you, sir, but I can carry you.
Gosh. Cavalry Collective, I would love for you to hop on. You had a great question. So man. if you have the chance, please do. Links in chat. Reese, did you pin that?
I tried.
It's pinned.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. You know what? It's because I have my stream paused. That has to be it. So excellent. Okay, so link is pinned. If you want to hop in and ask a question.
Sorry.
Were you laughing at the metals comment?
No, I'm laughing at something Larry said in the private chat.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't care about. I'm not. If family isn't in the same aspect as Fast and the Furious, where it's
family.
It's kind of
it's family
hokey thrown in there. Well, if it isn't the great and amazing Paul Tucker.
Oh man, what an intro! Thank you, friends. Thank you. How y'all doing?
Doing well.
Excellent. Now that you're here, buddy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hi, Paul Tucker, writer of Sunchild. And obviously, because of this, I have some insight, but
not biased at all.
Not biased at all. As I have,
he might be writing Crusader.
Every little bit of chat I put in, I always make sure I say my completely recognized bias. So Nick, I will say I do not know too much about your full plan for history.
Because I don't even know it.
Damn it.
Oh my gosh.
Screwing up my question already.
Where's the editor? Where's the editor?
Matt's hiding now.
What
He's like, I got a bunch of notes for you, Nick. He just turns off his camera.
He's just coming up with his rate to send to your wife for babysitting costs.
Yeah. I just gave him the latest book.
Oh, now he's gone for real.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, so finish that question though.
Yeah. So again, I don't know too much about the Demon Hunter or history of the Demon Hunter plan, which obviously you just said you don't know too much either. But what are the chances that you could give some sort of morsel about one of your thoughts about the series to visit? Or let me restart this here. It's been a long day. Are you willing to give any morsels of hints for other locations or times that History of the Demon Hunters might go to? So like a like a Spartan, like a barbarian, like a musketeer? Is there any hint or anything that's in the back of your head that you've been thinking about doing for it, even if it's not official yet, that you're willing to give a hint on, even if it's vague?
This might be 10 to 15 years out, so this one I can say, because if we ever get to this point, wow, go us. Yeah, we'll forget. But I would love to go back to biblical times and actually dive into like the days of Noah and talk about the crazy things going on in that time, because I don't know if I'll ever get to that point in terms of story establishment, but I would love to explore the early days of when God cried and wept over how cruel and evil mankind had become, and explore the ramifications in our universe of what that meant, while staying true to biblical and the truth within that, and then stem out from that, because the origin of a lot of our stuff kind of goes back into that point, but I haven't established any of that yet, and the characters are in that. But if we make it to 10 years from now, that is the goal, is to go all the way to that point in terms of history.
So when we make it to 10 years from now. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll make a note. I'll put it in my calendar.
He's right. No, it's dang it.
Dope. Well, thank you. I have a Sunchild Chapter 3 to write, so I'm gonna dip out. But thank you for answering my question.
I got to talk to you about the second chapter too later.
Okay.
I might be able to do
Hold
something
on,
with
dudes. Paul, before you go, guys, there's a reason why Paul is part of the team of Demon Hunter Raven. I was given the blessing of reading Bump Back issue 1, and I'm telling you, dudes, I'm the type of dude that I'm not really into like horror or monsters or all that stuff. But Paul converted me, man. Hellhound is like my spiritual animal. I'm like the clean version of Hellhound. I'm Heavenhound, and this is Hellhound, and you'll know why. He's my personal favorite. But I'm telling you guys, for somebody who has written scripts for like movies and all this stuff, soon to be, I could see why Nick yanked him before before he goes.
I didn't even mess with that. I was like, no, I ain't gonna be stupid on this one. But
Thank you so much.
I think it showed in your first script for the Crusader, which we did just like what Matt did. I gave you a plot outline. We're talking above everyone's heads here, and we're just waiting for Matt to come back. Twitless, did he just?
I just texted him, so I thought it was a bit that he was doing, but we're getting into Andy Kaufman territory of bit, so where it's just the thing. the bit is indistinguishable from the reality. Do we have any other questions from chat before we move on to talk? See, Reese has to be in the driver's seat so we can share Omega Girl on screen and do stuff.
I was going to say.
And by the way, it's Heaven Cat, not Heaven Hound.
Gosh dang it. Every time.
Ichthus, I love you too much to make you a cat, man. But anyway, have a good
back.
Guys.
Okay, that was some.
Oh, he's not back. He's gone. I missed it.
Missed it by that much.
This really is a bit. You there, bud?
Is he cracking up so much from the stuff we're doing that he just can't?
Okay. 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 Kudos, you got me. I legitimately thought you computer crashed. Which, by the way, would not be unfair to assume, because you totally have had that happen before. I was like, oh, great, he's having Windows Update. It's basically installing a 30 minutes worth of material on his computer.
I will have you know, I had that happen to me this weekend, right before I had a paper due.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Yeah, it was all on my computer, and the whole thing was like locked up like a walnut. I had to pray. Anyway.
All right, so I think we're gonna move. We're gonna talk Omega Girl now.
Yep. Sweet.
Yes.
Yay.
Finally, something positive.
I'm super. Oh, don't you dare!
No, it's really good. It's really good.
So, Ichthus, I have to ask: did you read Omega Girl yet?
No, I have not. But
okay, I'm gonna kick you then.
Okay.
Okay.
Go.
But if you have questions later, you can come back for our next question.
Absolutely.
Segment.
Once you've heard things, feel free to come back. But we will. His computer is the joke.
Deleted.
All right. So I am sharing. Okay, so Nick, you're in the hot seat. It's time for you to pitch my book.
Okay. It's got boobs. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be more respectful.
Brian's in. Okay.
It's got
Our Christian author, everyone.
I'd like to point out that no, never mind.
Oh.
So I probably won't be as dynamic or as cool in my forthcoming of how Twitless did mine, but I will gush over the series because it's absolutely astoundingly well written. It's well paced. But anyways, Omega Girl takes place in a get rid of the idea of dystopian futures. Don't think Blade Runner, but think in terms of a future society that is hinging upon progress in a way that might not be so beneficial towards society, and it needs people to step up to a certain place. But there's a lot of cool action adventure stuff, kind of going back to like Golden Age, Silver Age sort of style of storytelling. There's a lot of action. There's some nuance in there. You get to know the characters pretty quick, the dynamics of the city. So if you're looking to invest in something that is going to bring about, that music threw me off. If you're into like large universe spanning things, worlds with a lot of superheroes like My Hero Academia, City of Heroes, this Omega Girl has all of that, but it also has a really cool protagonist, Omega Girl, who is very much about truth, is about justice, but compared to another hero that gave up certain attributes, she stands for truth, justice, and the I forget what the name of the city.
Angel City.
Angel City, for truth, justice, and Angel City. It's got some really great beats, really great driven characters.
Great beats.
It feels like you're watching a Saturday morning cartoon, so it's really easy to dive into, get to know the characters and the world around you. And there's a lot of cool things going on, a lot of thoughts. It's short, sweet, and it gets the point across really quick, so you don't have to it doesn't hit you over the head with anything either. It's just you get into there, it tells its story, and it's satisfying. And plus, the Omega Girl is a fantastic character. She's got a great outfit. She stands out amongst all the other characters. She's got she reminds me of like a Captain America, a Superman. She's just virtuous, positive, and stands for what is right. So if you're into that sort of stuff, I really highly recommend Omega Girl. In fact, if you are not grabbing Omega Girl, I will personally come to your house and beat you senseless.
Okay, wait, it's getting dark. Okay.
Speaking of beating people senseless, I had the thought that Omega Girl is a less cynical version of what the Powerpuff Girls did to superheroes, where the Powerpuff Girls spoof superheroes and are exciting superheroes at the same time, which is a really weird combination. You have a comedic element to Omega Girl that it's kind of like a loving parody of superheroes, and you're telling kind of like good old classic superhero stories. So I was really impressed by the comedic beats of it, and that's one of the elements that like I wasn't expecting going in, right? Like I never know what to expect with an indie superhero going in. I think it's always important for an indie superhero to have some element that distinguishes it from the big two, and I think that almost like joyful, sort of comedically joyful recreation of the classic superhero story is what's distinguishing it. I'm laughing while I'm getting absorbed into the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So, Demon Hunter Raven was compared to Bleach. Omega Girl is compared to Powerpuff Girls.
I never expected that comparison.
I hadn't really thought of it either, honestly, because like, and I think this is actually one of the things that Powerpuff Girls got right that I think a lot of people missed, because a lot of people haven't actually read those old Silver Age Supergirl stories, or even the Bronze Age Supergirl stories. But there's like a lot of in the super family stories of the late Silver and Bronze Age, there's just a lot of tongue-in-cheek silliness that's mixed in with, you know, the because it's written for such a young audience, and I think that I've mentioned this before. I think that Omega Girl does such a good job of embracing those the silliness, while, you know, not being just like reductive or or mocking.
I'm a little worried. I was like, oh, Away Girls like is my serious superhero story, and I'm like, I need to revisit my whole writing paradigm.
It's all right. Omega Girl does not try to sneak in a dozen dirty jokes a second over your head while your parents aren't looking.
Yes,
right, and that's why I said it's not simple. Powerpuff is a cynical spoof of superheroes. You're a loving look at the classic superhero.
Yes,
So it's different, it's different in tone. The point of the comparison, I think you're achieving a similar balance, right? The point is the Powerpuff Girls do two cool things at once, action and comedy. You're accomplishing two cool things at once, the superhero action and the comedic, the comedic, what is it? Relief, comic relief, that's it.
Yeah. So part of one great example I think that'll really bring this. I'm gonna screen myself here. Is this character right here? Love Potion.
He was our joke character.
Yeah. And like everything about him, from the outfit to the powers to everything, it's ridiculous. But like a lot of the really cool villain names are, they're incredible Tyler puns. I mean Logan puns.
I'm just going to say it this way. I feel like Omega Girl is a very purposeful middle finger to everything that has happened in superhero comics for the past 30 years.
Okay, well, I wasn't trying to give anyone a middle finger either. This is going in very different directions than I anticipated.
I actually wouldn't agree with that. I mean, I'm going to take myself off the thing here. That's crazy. I wouldn't agree with that because it's not like in defiance, right?
True.
Okay, so like here's Brian with Rags has a bit of a defiance toward the conventions of modern comics, right? It's entertainment at the cost of your sacred cows, right? Whereas many modern comics seem to sacrifice sacred cows at the risk they being entertaining. But for Brian, everything is on the table to make his stories. But there's a defiance that's part of it with the whole way, and part of that's because, especially in the first season, because of the stuff that Regina's gone through and is dealing with, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I do. Okay, there you go. That's true. But with this one, it's more of, I really think that it's a love letter to what was before in a way that doesn't feel like it's being hokey and old. So you're not going to have, Omega Girl's not going to fall in love with the space horse.
Yes, exactly.
She's not going to have, a best friend who's a talking monkey. She's not going to suddenly wonder what would it be like to be black.
Every direction this conversation has gone, and I could not have anticipated.
That
was like I think a Lois Lane comic.
That was a Lois Lane comic,
Okay.
but it was that in that same kind of vein, though.
But I would agree with the comedy angle, and I think for your next Omega Girl cover, you should do like a remix of the old Super Dickery era of Superman comic book covers, along with some John Byrne style comedy. Mix those two flavors together.
So issue 2 is already at Indie Planet, but we skipped the voice acting, guys. We got to voice act a bit.
Okay.
I just thought we hadn't gotten there yet.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do the good news with Omega Girl is like we in like 3 or 4 pages, it's like a full story. So we're gonna get a lot in a couple pages.
So which story do you want to do?
I think it's fine to start with the beginning.
Origin stories are so overdone.
Fine, fine. I can skip it.
Didn't you have a whole YouTube rant about that?
I did. That's why I decided to do mine in 4 pages. Because I was like, I'm not spending like if people want to hear more from it, I'll give it to them. But like I gave I wanted to at least give just enough so you could be like, okay, that's what this hero kind of is. Let's go. Also, every page is money for me, and so it's really influenced my writing style to be very. In some cases, I've had to be very I don't know if I'd say compressed, but very deliberate with how I sequence things. So I guess I'll ask Chad. Do you guys want the origin story? Or do you want another one from here? Because we can just jump right in with another one.
So we actually have first of all, we got a question from the chat.
Oh, geez. These are not questions I expected to be asked. Okay.
And also, Neil likes to know. Neil wonders what it's like to be black.
Well, you can ask Brian. He's in chat.
Well, yeah.
I think we should read the one with Love Potion because that sounds like that'd be the most entertaining.
Okay.
I wanted. Okay, I could do that one.
I got it. Actually, Brian says origin story.
All right, origin story it is.
So
okay.
I'm sorry, Larry. The chat overruled.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. But with the thing is, before we get going, Neo says Omega Girl struck a great balance between grounded yet optimistic. It seems genuine in its narrative and execution.
Thank you. That's where I was going. That was my target.
Yeah.
Because there are serious Omega Girl stories. Issue 2 is definitely going to hit some of those, and things are going to get dark. But I wanted to start things off with what is it? I don't know what it's like. Oh, I can't read that.
That's not cool.
Oh, geez, Brian. All right, so let's voice act issue episode 1. So we have, let's see here.
So there's a narrator. Who wants to be the narrator?
That's a lot of words.
Read it, you cowards.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Twitless did such a good job on my stuff. I'll pay it forward.
Okay,
right.
So all right, so I'm
already do it in the voice of Stan Lee.
Hello, true believers.
Sorry.
Metal says I'm going to make a 200-page origin story that doesn't actually tell the origin. That's my art.
That is. That right there. That could be a dissertation.
Yep. All right. So who's going to be Amanda / Omega Girl? Not me. I've already voiced her before in the old timey radio thing I did.
You know, if I could
Well,
do it.
you're
Like
the only one with experience.
I'll do it like Miss Slocum from Are You Being Served?
Oh, jeez.
Unless somebody else has a better idea, I think I should do it. They should do it that way.
Okay, all right, Reese, you can do that.
Okay,
and then
excellent.
we have like 2 more main roles. We have a villain. I'm gonna tap Larry to be the villain.
Very good.
Okay, so you get to be Disasternaut, and Marm, you can be Dr. Kisaragi.
All right.
Okay, I'll play any other bit roles we have to do. Okay, so let's get this train wreck a rolling.
Oh gosh, why is the type so small?
I'm gonna
Sorry,
solo.
I can zoom in.
Yeah, okay, there we go. I can see it now. Okay. In the technological paradise of Angel City, college student Amanda Shields wanted nothing more than to study her engineering degree in peace. But as news of the Jackal crime syndicate and its super-powered criminals grew, her passion for justice would not keep quiet. Even though she was just a regular girl, she could not stand by and let innocent people get hurt. Dun dun dun.
Look like payday's coming early today.
Stop! Leave these people alone.
What you gonna do about it, girlie?
Everyone, get out of here while I hold him off.
Oh, jeez. Tink!
By the way, we need the music.
Oh, okay. Hang on. That's a good call. Action scene music. We want to go with the rock sounding track again.
Yeah.
I like the smooth jazz.
Nice try. But you've had your shot. Now it's time for Disaster Not to take his.
Amanda's fate looked grim as she lay in critical condition. Even with Angel City's advanced technology, it appeared nothing could save her from the extent of her injuries.
How long does she have, Doctor? Not long, I'm afraid, Doctor. The cellular breakdown from that energy blast is irreversible. It'll take a miracle.
Did someone call me?
Dr. Kisaragi?
Why, yes, that is indeed my name. Alicia here.
Wait. Is Dr. Kisaragi from South Carolina suddenly?
Apparently.
Okay.
Just roll with it. All right, so that's your line, Matt.
Whatever.
Is it? Oh.
Whatever. Stop cracking up. I may have a way to save your life, but it's risky.
You can't mean that Omega particle therapy you keep blabbing about.
There's no time.
At least wait for your parents.
Oh, do it.
Welcome to the Omega Particle Accelerator. Omega particles are everywhere. They are small but vital part of all living things. Depending on your absorption rate, they may be able to heal you. Let's hope I'm as smart as I know I am.
I never thought that I would hear Southern Kisaragi. This is insane.
It worked. I'm healed.
This is the 4Kids stub of your comic Twitless.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
Right. I have jelly donuts. Look, girl, your readings are off the chart. With this amount of Omega particles in you, who knows what you're capable of?
Over the next few weeks, Kisaragi and Amanda find out how amazing Omega particles can be. Amanda had incredible strength and was invincible to harm. Yeah, those are words.
Yeah.
She could leap through the air incredible distances, and in time, even fly. Her eyes could concentrate Omega particles into beams of energy, and her breath could freeze objects solid. With a special bracelet made by Dr. Kisaragi that materializes her costume, Amanda Shields became the invincible Omega Girl.
Ta-da! All right.
Omega Girl, to the rescue!
Oh gosh. Okay. Like I said, if you asked me to predict how any of this was going to go, I would predicted none of this. So I have
this
nothing.
Was epic.
I got nothing.
Also looking at the next panel for Disastronaut made me think the voice was high quality. I picked. Sorry, Disastronaut. I was just talking about that. If I wanted the opinion of an idiot, you'd still be the last one I'd ask.
I'm very proud of that line.
So,
what the heck? I'll pull it up. It's my comic. I can share as much as I want. Okay.
Oh yes, this is the panel where he's wearing the sombrero.
No, he's not. Don't say that. It's a hole in the ceiling.
well done. Hey,
Holmes, if you wanted the opinion, eh?
You are not helping me sell this as a serious superhero series.
But it sure is fun.
It's not a parody though.
No, it is not.
It can be fun and have a tinge of, and let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. Superheroes are really not that serious.
I mean, I guess if you compare them to Holocaust Lit, then no.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
So we're going there now.
Okay.
They're you know that there should be a level of whimsy into superhero stories that people keep forgetting about for some reason.
Twitless was going to make an announcement tonight about his next crossover is going to be Omega Girl meets Mouse.
Our Spiegelman comes out of retirement.
Actually, it's Spiegelman's mouse character involved in a superhero adventure story.
Yeah. It's like I don't go dark.
Not Vladik. It's art.
It's art. Yeah.
I mean,
just played his father the whole time.
Specs Thompson said, "Is that the Mega Man who laughed?" A little bit, yeah. Okay, all right. So I have to show off at least one of the cool looking panels because you all are just going into like joke territory. Here we go.
Okay,
Maximum charge.
That looks pretty cool.
Well, somebody said one of the panels was awesome. I don't know which one he was talking about. Maybe when she gets shot.
We definitely took a little bit of manga and anime influence for Omega Girl as well. The city, Angel City, has got some Asian influences. Dr. Kisaragi, but also like some of these action shots. Yeah. I wanted to channel a little bit of the energy that I saw in manga.
So no
Definitely
pun
got it in
intended
that
there.
panel.
I want to point out that Twitless did all the sorry, what's it called? The onomatopoeia text himself.
The lettering for his special effects.
Yes.
With a little help, Cartoonicus helped me with some of the design. I'd sometimes show him and be like, Kurt, help me work Adobe Illustrator. I don't know what I'm doing. But I tried to give it a nice flavor for the lettering. And I'm still learning how to letter, so if it looks terrible, then that's just learning curve. But I think it turned out okay. Sorry, I'm talking too much about this. This is about you to inflate my ego. What did you guys like about...
Well, I mean, I kind of already said my piece.
Yeah.
So. Before we did our voice acting. With
That's
the
a good
awesome
point. We're out of
soundtrack
order. We're out of order,
provided by, StreamYard. So.
Okay, so who goes first?
Hey, Larry, what are your thoughts? I guess I should take over this part.
Sure. Well, my thoughts are, like you said, this is very much a love letter to late silver, early bronze age sort of comics. It has a strong female character, well designed, something that both of these comics we reviewed today have in common. That's also really stands out, which is one thing a lot of independent superhero comics generally tend to do poorly, is having a good, strong character profile for their main character. And Omega Girl really stands out.
Thank you. Yeah.
I like the tag team on that too. Is that there's there is a that I think. Hang on, I lost my train of thought for a second. It's in there. It'll come back around. Somebody else go.
So going off of the designs. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, going off of the designs, it really draws you in because everything looks, and don't take this as in the wrong way, it looks over the top in a really fun way. Like, it's not something you would see ordinarily, but it still harkens back to traditional memes of like the idea of superheroes, the world that you're building up to. And I love the city itself. Like, it doesn't feel like, oh, hey, we're putting heroes back into a regular city. Like, you've built up an area for them to inhabit. So we have like a world building sort of atmosphere going on, and it has its own history. And just in general, the visuals that you're building upon are alone draw people in, because she herself has a really cool design that plays off of a lot of cool, like you've got the Omega symbol there. Her color scheme is really well done, and it plays uniformly into it. It doesn't feel like it's like what someone else was just saying. Like, some designs for some characters don't have a good unison, or they feel kind of clamored together. But this has its own feel, and I don't feel like I've seen this before. Like, I don't think I can point to someone else and be like, oh yeah, that's clearly Superwoman or Wonder Woman. Like, it has its own feel, it has its own look, and it's clearly its own thing. And that is hard to do because a lot of times we tend to create amalgams or combinations or a homage to a character that we've already seen, and want to redo that character.
No, I appreciate that a lot. I put a lot of thought into. I want the city and every superhero, and I don't know if I'll be able to accomplish this with all this, because I want to eventually, just like you, build a larger universe. And I really want the cities to kind of speak with their own personality. And so Angel City was definitely I wanted Angel City to have a personality. So when you saw it, you were like, okay, that's Angel City. It's bright, it's hopeful, it's futuristic. There's kind of like angelic touches to it. It's not just New York. So it's also like my artist Brian. He hates drawing regular square cities, and so this was a very happy medium for him, because I was like, hey, he's like, I could just kind of draw whatever buildings I want and round them and do weird stuff, and I don't have to do a regular architecture. So he really likes Angel City. So that worked out.
Yep.
We have a question.
So I remember what I was going to say earlier was I was talking about how, like, the motives that Amanda has her own set of motives but it's also they in themselves are straightforward and simple and sincere, which is, I think, what harkens it to that classic superhero type. Which actually goes to a question that Specs in the chat says is what makes it Silver Age in its feel. And I think for part of it is that Twitless does not seem to be wanting to tell a modern superhero story with an angst-ridden, conflicted hero who questions whether or not the things that she's doing is hurting or helping her city. They're just gonna steer into the presumptions of the art form.
At least not yet. I am going to challenge her. But to me,
yeah, you can challenge her without challenging that presupposition, right? So, like, one of my complaints, total side note, but you guys have all heard this. One of my complaints with Civil War was that it set up a conflict that is a direct conflict with the very underlying premises of a superhero universe.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
I want to speak to your economy of language, which you've mentioned is sort of forced by budget, right? Like every page is a cost to you, but like even like in this page that we're looking at, you have the heat vision and the freeze breath in one panel. Just he's got superpowers, right? So if you do an origin story, you want to make the origin story a narrative. You kind of have consciously decided we need to get past the long drawn out getting her superpower stuff to get into the superhero action. You kind of committed to that, right?
Yes.
And I see it throughout. Like the doctor I give the South Carolina accent to.
Kisaragi.
She introduces herself. Yep, Kisaragi immediately introduces herself as an intelligent egotist. Like she's very impressed with her own intelligence. Kisaragi off screen gives her equipment, so we know why she has her suit and everything. The Jackal agents having the conversation about how technology is destroying jobs for honest criminals these days, and that's the setup for Disaster, not rolling his eyes. I'm surrounded by idiot henchmen, right? So you do a comedy beat, but you're also establishing Jackal as these are like mooks. You're giving them a little bit more personality beyond just being faceless grunts. You're setting up Disaster Knight as being the actual competent and dangerous villain. So you do more than one thing at once on any given page.
Which is another trait of comics before 1985, I'm going to say. I mean, they happened some after that too, but like even with stories that weren't done in one stories, they were written well enough so that if you picked up Detective Comics in February, and then you somehow missed, March's issue, you went back in April, and by context of people's conversations or by little editorial notes for things that are super obscure, you could get caught up on everything you missed that was pertinent to what you were about to read. So you weren't lost. That idea that every comic is somebody's first comic, speaks to that efficiency of language, which is something I think that you did really well with this here, Twit.
I love how you did that, Twit.
Also, making the origin story short, that was one of the best parts of the original Daredevil comic book. The first one they had, that was like, if I remember, like a page was the first time they did the origin story of Daredevil. And it was like a series of panels in the page, if I remember correctly, explaining his origin. It was super short in that comic. It got right into him punching people in the face.
Yes, that was very intentional. I did a little bit of a study where I went into and looked at a bunch of because I'm like, okay, I want to make a cool superhero. And let me look, how did the best ones start out? Superman, Batman, Fantastic Four. And I quickly noticed a trend, which was they didn't take like 4 issues to be like, I have superpowers now. It was like 1 page, 2 pages, in some cases maybe 5 or 6 pages. Spider-Man, I think, was one of the longer ones because it was like half a story, I think.
I mean, anything done by Stan Lee is going to drag on a bit.
But even then, even Stan Lee taking a little bit more time, like taking maybe one story to do Iron Man, it was still very fast. I was noticing, okay.
Yeah, that's 12 pages though. I mean,
exactly.
That's yeah. Look, I mean, he's telling the origin story of Iron Man over the whole comic or half the comic, but it's 12 pages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I noticed is that people didn't want to sign up for a new superhero so they could see how she got her powers. What they wanted to do is they wanted to see a cool superhero, or hopefully see a cool superhero do cool things, and then maybe after they were interested, they might want to reflect back on maybe the origin story.
Yeah, that's how it was with Batman. You didn't have an origin story of Batman for 3 or 4 years.
Really?
Well, I remember Batman. It took a while before they finally said, "Here's the origin story with the orphan and the orphan side of it." Yeah,
they revealed his secret identity as the socialite Bruce Wayne, friend of the Commissioner in 27, but it wasn't until I think Batman 5, so that would have been like a year and a half later.
Yeah, you didn't even have an Alfred at that point.
Yeah, they didn't even have an Alfred at that point.
So the famous "Yes, Father, I'll be a bat" was not how it started out.
No,
that was not even.
Wow.
No, he just a lot of these superheroes, like I said, Superman, Batman, they just swing into action and they're just doing stuff. And
Superman had an origin story that was 1 page.
That exactly, it's 1 page. And so I was like, okay, I'll give myself 4 because I don't think I can tell her origin story in 1. I'm not that talented. But I was like, okay, 4, I could do it. And then I linked her origin story to the second story with Disaster Not, so the two of them kind of feed into each other, which I'm hoping. How did that work for you guys?
I like it.
Okay, cool.
I liked the idea that we could potentially go back to that and go into it further. Like, this all felt like you were establishing the characters, the world, and what they inhabit. So for me, normally I would be like, oh, I hate that. But for you, you did it so well, and the pacing was so good that I never once felt like I was being cheated of something.
All right, thank you. Good.
I want to get back to my thoughts on people are hesitant to look at an independent superhero because the fear is always, well, are you just ripping on Marvel or DC, right? So by having the quick origin story, you've kind of you've gotten the hesitant reader past like the long drawn out origin story, right? Like, oh great, I've got to read 20 issues of buildup. So you've sort of skipped over that and gotten right into the thick of things. I do think that a look back, like flashback sequences, might be relevant in future. But I think you've established the tone of comedic action centric rather than necessarily character of Omega Girl centric. And you've also kind of I want to say something about Omega Girl's character. So far, the main thing that's been established about her is that she's very much like she's kind of a goody two shoes, even if like some of the villains make fun of her for this, right? So I'm interested to see if your take on Omega Girl is going to be that she is a goody two shoes, and that's just like the running gag of her character, or is that going to be tested or challenged, maybe in like the serious, maybe the more serious side you've been talking about building up towards, right?
Yes, very much the second thing, yeah. Okay. But I wanted to again, I feel like it's important. If I start off with it being like her just being like tested or like, on the ropes, I was like, I feel like it would set the wrong tone. And this was also something like I write Omega Girl with, I should probably tell this little story, but Omega Girl is actually not entirely my character. She's someone I met by doing role-playing games in City of Heroes. And we did all these interesting stories through like role-play stuff in the video game. And I said, I love this character. I want to make a comic out of it. And so when we started talking about it, we started talking about the fact that, we wanted to start off Omega Girl at her, I guess, most invinciblest, as it were, where like the challenges she was facing were not nearly as much to her physical sense, but more to like other people, kind of like the, One Punch Man, where it's that, a little bit less about threatening Saitama. But we're not going to end there. She is going to get challenged. She is going to have some, moments of even doubt. But she is very much a kind of a paragon hero. And there is a little bit of an ongoing joke because like I said, I don't see this series as a as comedic, I guess. But I did want to put in little moments of humor, and there is an ongoing joke about Omega Girl being a bit straight-laced, and so she's not good at the witty superhero one-liner like Spider-Man is. So we do have a story that I scripted where she actually tries to kind of become a little bit more like the superhero who can like do the bants. But she's not good at that part because she's so genuine. I knew it. I knew the minute I said role play, I was doomed. I knew 5 seconds in. I'm like, this one's gonna get tossed at me.
Well, since it's online in a game.
Well, Brian, you're just gonna have to buy Omega Girl and find out, aren't you?
What I love about that part of the story is that this is technically a video game comic.
Oh, jeez. I mean, I guess it was inspired by in some ways. But no, I definitely appreciate what you guys are picking up on, and this is great stuff. And I do some of the I have different types of stories. Like I have 4-page stories, and the 4-page stories tend to have more of the comedic beats to them. But by issue 2, actually this one has a 12-pager because it's got the hijack story, and I'll show some stuff from that. The 12-page stories and the longer stories are where I start getting a little bit more serious. The 4-page ones, it's kind of like, because 4 pages is like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very much kind of like a comedic type of writing. It's very similar to what I do in Super Schooled with panels 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I feel like my 4-page stories tend to be the ones that are a little bit more with the comedic punchiness. But like by issue 3, I'm writing more and more of the 12-pagers, and that's where they're getting more, I wouldn't say like, dark in tone, but they're definitely getting more serious in tone. They're addressing more serious issues. Issue 3, which is almost, I'm lettering it right now, deals with a anti-hero who ends up becoming more popular than Omega Girl because she ends up being a little bit more edgy, and she's willing to be anti-heroic. And Omega Girl kind of has to face the fact that her commitment to justice isn't always going to be popular. It's not always going to win her accolades. And so she kind of has a sober moment where she realizes, okay, I'm doing the right thing, but I'm not getting like cheered on for it. So I try to address stuff like that in these early issues before we hit some of the other, I guess, the other anime arc where it's like, this is the tournament arc. Well, I don't have a tournament arc, but I do have an arc where it's like, face off with the Jackal executives and things get real and stuff. So
I did a tournament arc without realizing I did a tournament arc.
That's right. That was the Ren Fair one, wasn't it?
Well, actually, I did 2 because there's a tournament contest in the middle of a national villainy too. But you haven't read that one. You should. It's only 90 pages. Come on.
Okay. There we go.
It's hilarious. It's great. We're not here to talk about Force of Good and Evil, which, by the way, you can read for free at forceofgoodandevil.net.
There we go. There's your plug.
That was such a smooth transition.
I just came up with it.
Well
totally on the fly.
So I want to know where. So we see a lot of 4-page shorts. Like we're just kind of doing a lot of. Here's this plot. Is there a point where you're going to do more long form stories? Are we going to get arcs? Or are we going to do more larger narrative driven stories?
Yes.
When can we expect that?
Issue 4 has got my first full 24-page story where Omega Girl faces a magical kind of threat, or at least a seemingly magical threat, and it puts her kind of more scientific worldview to the test. So we're going to see how she fares with that. And I think by after issue 6 is when I start the kind of the fall of Jackal arc, which is basically going to be, it's going to be Omega Girl and her final confrontation with the Jackal criminal syndicate before we ramp things up with her next major antagonist. And then some of the plot lines are going to start getting influenced by some of the stuff I pulled from the role play sessions we did in City of Heroes, because we had some really cool storylines going on there. And so things get, and that's when the broader universe, I think, starts opening up. But there's a lot of just excellent. And here's the other thing: is I was looking forward to some of those future stories, but then I started just loving the stories I was telling to get to that point as well. So I've just loved every story I tell. I feel like I'm fleshing out another part of Omega Girl or Angel City, and it's been a blast.
Mm. Yeah, and it shows. And the part of it, the book is fun. And it comes off that the creator itself, the writer, the artist, they're having fun as they do it. Like you don't like the panels themselves from a technical standpoint. They're flashy, they're moving, they're engaging. Like there's no point that you're sitting there going like, oh man, this panel is a wasted space. Like you have a high idea on the real estate that you're using with this book. You know how to use the space, how to narratively keep flowing with the build up and the investment that you're putting in each page.
I appreciate that. That's not all me. Sometimes Brian comes in. He says, "I needed to add a panel." So there are pages where it's like, "I needed to add a panel so that you had too few." It's not. I do write in kind of DC script, but I really trust Brian, and he does a really good job of going. You know what? I need to add a thing here, or let's talk about this moment here. It works out. It's cool.
Even though he's been mocking you in the chat the whole time, I feel New Age Ninja Corpse makes a good point. Can you talk about Omega Girl's overall design?
That's a rough one because, like I said, I ran into her in the City of Heroes game, and I instantly loved it. And it was kind of hard for me to put my finger on it, but it was just something so. It was her design and her backstory that you can because City of Heroes lets you click on a character and then read their backstory, and the people who really get into the role play, if you know what I mean, they write very in-depth backstories, and here was just a character who just kind of exuded power and grace at the same time, power, beauty, and grace. And because she was definitely not she's definitely a beautiful superheroine, and she's definitely got that going on for her, but it wasn't sleazy, and I really liked the fact that her bright coloring spoke to her kind of noble spirit, just a very classic side to it. The epaulets on the side, I think, give her a sense of power. She's someone to be taken seriously. But her overall look was just very inspiring. She was supposed to be kind of a very inspiring kind of paragon. And I don't know if this is a shock to anybody. I like to play the opposite of that. So the character I was playing, I don't want to spoil too much, but I play bad guys, and I'm very much of the villainous sort of. I know I play a nice guy, but I actually have a very dark streak. So the fact that she was so noble and inspiring and beautiful and everything, I was like, I'm going to take her down. And so that's where the stories that we created were kind of out of this, immovable force, unstoppable, immovable object, unstoppable force. And so the kind of tension between those things. And I think that kind of happens in the stories here with Jackal as well, because you're having these villains who are very selfish and cruel, and she's always trying to offer them kind of hey, you can stop this, be better, essentially. And that's an important thing I always like to put in this, as much as possible to put in the stories, is that she doesn't just come in fist swinging. She tries to kind of reason with the villains. She tries to show them a better way, and they just usually don't take her up on it.
When I know you've got 2 issues out. Where are you in with the 3rd one?
I'm lettering it. So
you're really close.
Yeah. So it's issue 3, and then issue 4 is being created now.
Goodness, you're putting these out fast.
I'm trying to. Not nearly as fast as you, but
that's a different situation. And you're paying for this. You've got another artist working with you, and I think a lot of us can talk about having to wait on an artist or waiting on the production line to keep things moving.
Well, I'm also having to learn whatever the hell I'm doing. So I think as indie creators, we can all identify with that sort of what am I doing? So
those little bumps in the road.
Exactly. Twitless.
By the way, I like the how Hijack becomes like an anti-consumerist or anti-capitalist or whatever. Nice little okay, again, nice little establishing his character in the midst of action scenes, right? Like you don't have like a 30-page character arc for him, but we get hints of his motivation through the banter with Omega Girl.
Yes, yeah. Like I said, one thing that I'm going to talk to the chat for real talk for chat. Yeah, Brian, we're cool. Yeah, give me as much crap as you want. I'm going to regret saying that. I'm going to regret that.
That was not a wise choice of words.
Bad choice of words. Okay, no, but one thing that I'm going to be real with chat for a second. When it comes to starting a superhero book, I think that starting with a 4-page story is one of the best decisions that you can make, especially if you're a writer, because it will teach you so much. If you write, and this is one of my problems, I think, with the mainstream, you get people who just haven't developed their craft enough, and they're suddenly given the keys to the Ferrari. It's literally giving a 16-year-old, here's the keys to the Ferrari, don't wreck it. And it's like, and then you get like Mags Asagio or whatever wrecking it, the car. And I'm like, me having to tell a complete superhero story in 4 pages did so much for me, taught me how to how to do multiple things at once. I didn't have infinite Marvel budget to be like, I'm going to take 6 issues before this character gets in a costume. I'm like, I can't afford it. I don't want to spend all that money on 6 issues before the hero does something cool. No, I want a hero doing something cool by page 4, 5 tops. So it taught me that. It also is great if you are test driving artists, right? So one of the first artists I worked with, it didn't really work out. Our communication loop wasn't really solid. And it took him like 3 months to create a 4-page story. And if I had been working on like a 24-page story, like that story would have been in real trouble. But the fact that I was able to use these 4 pagers to like test drive either artists or colorists was huge. So it really did double duty. So these 4 pagers were really like my training ground. Brian says, so tell us more about your fanfic about the PC you fell in love with. Darn it, Brian, why do you have to expose me?
Well, you're not wrong, except the PC you fell in love with was his gaming PC.
So here's the question. When do we see Origowski Omega Girl fan art from Brian?
I don't know.
No, it'll be Spider Pickle.
Well, yes, right. We already have the Spider Pickle Demon Hunter Raven crossover experience. Neostar says, I typically enjoy playing as heroes. There's a level of excitement and adventure that comes with being a superhero that you don't often get on villain routes. Yeah, Neostar, I hear you there. I love playing the villain. I am just a turd that way. I love being the contrarian who's like, I'm going to take you down with this evil plot.
See, that's my real life, so I don't have to worry about that.
Oh, okay, yeah, you get that experience in real life. Yeah. I got it in City of Heroes, and then I was like, I'm going to make a comic.
I had an experience very much like that earlier this week, and it just annoyed me.
Oh, jeez.
Where you got to be the villain?
Oh, yeah. Somebody was trying to say something stupid about Superman, and I had to knock them in the face. On the internet.
Oh, okay. I was like, for a minute, I was concerned. No, yeah. So, yeah, there is City Heroes is available. You can still play it, and occasionally I do log on, and I don't play Omega Girl, obviously, but I do play her evil clone. So I can technically do, I can show up as Omega Girl, kind of.
But notice it's still the villain.
Yeah. Brian says, thanks to a certain person who will remain. Oh, goodness, I'm not reading that. I'll get so much flack. I'm no longer doing collabs with others outside of what's already planned. That makes sense. Yeah, I hear you. If people want to see Omega plus Sailor, we'd have to talk contracts and other legal stuff. No, that makes sense. I hear you there. That I respect that. I'm going to share because, like I said, it's my book and I can share as much as I want. So, boom, giant robot. So, selling point. If you like giant robots, I also put a giant robot in the book. So, first issue, giant robot.
I like.
Forgot about this.
That was a fun little ad at the end, and that was the fun part is while each story was individual, but it kind of kept telling the story chronologically. I'm assuming. that as you got to this end of the story, it felt like it was a really good climax to the end of this issue, having this kind of big threat come into the story.
Plus, you can't have an anime-inspired comic without having a giant robot.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I completely forgot probably my favorite page. Is it gonna? I'm gonna have to zoom out. So one thing that I've been trying to put in. Okay, so this is one of my questions. So one of my questions is, what y'all think of the spread?
That was really well done.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of how your eye goes across a page, you're immediately drawn to her, but then you go up to the top left, you kind of go across, and then you naturally end up back on him, and then you start going back down. So it's really good on several levels, artistically, narratively, and on a technical level. Because when you think of composition of how you want the eye to go across a page, it has a very good sweeping effect.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Marm, what did you think of the spread? I like your art analysis.
All right, so I read this on Kindle, and I don't like Kindle, so I couldn't zoom in on this page at all when I read it. I got eye strain. I got eye strain while reading it, but I do like I do like it. The design sensibility of it. My comment would echo the previous comment, but let's see. I guess the other neat thing is not putting too much important stuff in the gutter that gets cut off. So it looks like a little bit of a wrist might be in that area, but you're not putting a face or words or anything too vitally important in that spot. So that's one nice touch that the artist did to kind of avoid losing something in the staple area. And then I kind of like the idea of, again, you're using a lot of economy, right? So you have a big I think a 2-page spread, there always has to be a big idea. So you have the big idea of punching the plane in the fight with Hijack, but you're still doing you're still using your 2-page spread to advance the story at really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, you're getting a lot of work out of it. So, and you're kind of using the unnecessary space. So if the main figures are making up the bulk of the action in the mega giant panel filling the 2 pages, the emptier space where there was just like banners and green space, that's where you're using for smaller panels to advance the narrative. So I think you and the writer artist combo is really good on, I want to make this as economical as possible, and the artist is still having fun, right? It's not compressed to the point where everything feels dense and small and claustrophobic. They get to break out a little bit.
Awesome. Yes, this page. Well, first off, Larry, do you have any thoughts? Larry is.
I was away for a second. I really like that, and I also kind of like a little bit of a flair in this panel we're seeing here, with a little bit of the DSX kind of cyberpunk, but 80s cyberpunk vibe in that bottom corner there. There's all sorts of good little artistic touches in there.
I'm so glad you guys are noticing those. So yeah, with the design, we definitely wanted him to, Hijack when he's in his normal form to have a little bit of this little tech cyberpunky flair. This spread, and I discovered this sort of inset panel spread thing, and it's kind of becoming a staple of lots of Omega Girl comics because it can do both things, have a big idea on it, but I can also then put a bunch of panels that move the story along. So I fell in love with what I call this now the Omega spread, which Brian is also going to take and do something bad with. But I love the Omega spread because of what it lets me do. And I was like, okay, Brian, you now have the ability to do this. I'm going to abuse this ability whenever I can because this looks really good to me. So I'm glad that worked. I do have one follow-up question, though. Okay, so I like to make lots of characters, obviously. Who was your favorite villain in issue 1 and why?
Okay, got to remember who we had here.
Disasternaut. We had Love Potion. We had
That was the third one. Okay.
Hijack. Yeah.
Yeah, Love Potion stuck out because I kept reading his voice in the Randy Savage thing, like, "Oh yeah, get the love."
That was why I was shooting to have us read him, so I could have gone for that voice.
Yeah, for me it was Barry White.
Barry White.
Yeah. Love Doctor.
Yes. So Randy Savage was in fact the influence for Love Potion. He was supposed to be he was supposed to be our joke villain, because he's obviously kind of silly. But awesome. Okay, cool. So it sounds like Love Potion was the fan favorite. Did anybody like someone else?
I want to say Disasternaut. I like him for a couple of reasons. A, he's connected to Omega Girl's origin story. B, he's a bit full of himself, which gives him some personality. And it seems like he's like mid-tier on the Jackal ladder. So he's kind of like, he's sort of like scratching that, Darth Vader, not Darth Vader in all the movies, but Darth Vader specifically in A New Hope before you know anything about him. He's just like this big badass in armor who's also kind of like, he's like the dog for Grand Moff Tarkin, right? So he's mysterious, he's got a cool look, and we don't quite know like how important he is in the structure yet, except that he has like lots of blast attacks that he likes to announce in a big voice.
Okay, I'm super thrilled because a lot of these characters, every time I get one of them designed, and a lot of these guys were designed to be one-offs, but every time I would get them made and put them in a story, I'd go, no, I have to use this guy again. And Disasternaut especially, and he's going to definitely evolve and level up, I think. And I think part of it's because he's tied to her origin story. But I can't wait to show off Disasternaut 2.0.
And he's got great taste in sombreros.
I'm going to kill you.
You should have a cousin that's from Mexico.
Gosh.
That's funny considering I originally gave him a Russian accent.
So Nick and Reese, were you the love? Did you guys like Love Potion or someone else?
I just love your names. That's the part of it for me. I mean, like, I don't know that I can pick a favorite villain because I think that the names you have are just those classic names. Type of superhero names. I'm super jealous. Of course, that's like something that's not unique to Omega Girl. If you go out and read Super Schooled, you find quite a few excellently named superheroes too.
It's almost like they're written by the same person.
Almost like they're written by the same person.
I was going to say, because someone was saying earlier, they were talking about how you can do so much in a single panel or a single page. And I was going to say, I believe he got a lot of experience in that, having to come up with the constant punchlines for Super School.
Yes. The webcomic helped a ton of my my writing. Just a practice of it just helped a ton. Nick, did you already tell me your favorite villain?
Well, I liked the Love Potion guy, but I actually really liked the ending guy more.
Hijack.
Hijack. Just I think it's just because that story was really fun for me. I have somewhat of a penchant for electrical based characters, so he just kind of was like, oh yeah, he's cool. And he again, I don't really care for saying other characters look like that, but it reminded me of like a scenario that Superman would have faced off with Livewire. So it made me feel like it had that familiar touch to it, but it was different, and it had a way different way of telling it. So I really appreciated it, and it felt like I was back in that sort of superhero setting, enjoying a fun story. And so it brought back nostalgia and fun feelings, and like again watching those Saturday morning cartoons. So I really appreciated it.
Awesome. I was going to say, reminding me of the 90s Superman animated cartoon, it was almost like
Livewire.
Livewire meets Toyman.
So Neostar says Love Potion was a pretty fun one-off villain, but I like Disasternaut as an antagonist. He kind of reminds me of more serious Megavolt. Yeah, there's some of that there, and he's definitely gonna level up his suit, and his power is gonna kind of evolve with that as well, so he can rise to the challenge.
Googling Megavolt.
Darkwing Duck villain.
Oh yeah.
Well, Nick, if you like electrical supervillains, you might want to check out this story in the chat from Forces of Good and Evil, featuring a whole crew of electrical and cyber action going on with that one there.
We'll consider it done. I'm clicking the link.
Yeah,
we go. So we're going long. I would love to.
I have to apologize, guys. I've become shameless. I don't know how it happened.
Hey,
that's the promotion.
I mean, it's your stream.
It's your stream.
More plugs to my comic in this show than I have in the entire time I've been doing it.
I think putting your logo in the top right-hand corner did something. But
I think you're right.
Before we go, I would love to give chat a chance to hop on and do a call-in briefly to ask me any questions about Omega Girl. I'd love to talk to anyone who read it, or even if you didn't read it, mostly to people who read it. But if you did read Omega Girl, I would love to hear your thoughts on it, or for you to ask me any questions. So we'll give a moment. Please, somebody ask me a question.
And don't ask him about sombreros.
Do not ask me about sombreros. Do not ask me about my roleplay kinks. I will not tell you.
So drawing upon a lot of these characters, I mean, there's a lot of characters interested in this. What is like how? So were all the inspirations straight up from the City of Heroes game, or like where did you kind of brainstorm all these from?
Where does the line get drawn?
Yeah.
So actually, it's right now the line was mostly drawn at Omega Girl, and then a couple of other characters who will show up later. A lot of these characters, it was me trying to think of these, short, kind of at the time one-off stories where Omega Girl could be tested in some way without necessarily putting her in mortal danger, which was another challenge to write for the character. But early on, we didn't want her to be like, oh my gosh, my strength is failing or anything like that. We didn't want to hit those points yet. We wanted to save those for something later. And so it's like, okay, well, how do you take a hero who, is, ostensibly very much like Superman, very invincible, and challenge them? And so in the Love Potion story, for example, one of the instances was, let me pop it up here, is the fact that Omega Girl she doesn't want to hurt these mind-controlled women, and they're all just kind of like dogpiling her. And so she's kind of like, she's not like physically yet in a lot of danger, but she's like, I don't know, I could get in trouble. These fumes are kind of getting to me a little bit. I don't want to just, test my luck there. And also I don't want to hurt these people. So it was, some of these stories were me thinking of ways to kind of like, how do I challenge Omega Girl? How do I put her into a situation where she's, where I can raise the narrative's tension and stakes without, putting her in mortal peril.
That's awesome.
It would be the
also
most
nice touch.
fascinating.
Nice touch having this issue. Love Potion's power is he makes women fall in love with him, and there was also like the ordinary part of the story was like she goes on like a blind date with a guy theming. That's theming everybody.
This is a lot like Star Fox, ain't it? Because doesn't he have like the pheromones that make people fall in love with him?
Oh yeah,
Well,
the character.
That's the thing, is that
yeah.
everyone and their mother has done that kind of Venus, femme fatale villain. The thing here is that she twisted it by making him a male character.
Star Fox is a dude.
But no. I'm talking about the villain who makes people fall in love with them. Is always a female character.
Except for Star Fox.
Except for Star Fox. Star Fox is like.
I see what you're saying. I am unaware of this character.
Yeah. So Taylor thinks Star Fox, and he thought Nintendo.
Oh,
not do a barrel roll. We mean like Marvel.
Yeah, not that.
Oh, that's right.
Video
I keep
game.
forgetting that guy.
We're talking about.
No, I don't know anything about that character.
So Twitless, question.
Yeah.
So what about your ERPG kinks?
Okay, Reese, kick him from the chat.
No, keep him.
Oh gosh, the one question I said I wasn't going to answer. So
he doesn't have me. I've played with him.
If you join my private server, okay.
Oh god, no.
Okay.
Oh god, that's scary.
Twitless is
if you come to my secret basement and say the password, I got you.
Coming out now.
My
That's
secret.
the one we're gonna be dropping in the. It's not in the description right now, but if you come back tomorrow, it'll have the link to join Twitless's OnlyFans. So,
Oh god,
My
it's
secret.
just
Mega
his
Girl
feet.
family fans.
That'd be gross.
yes, it would be.
You were saying, Logan?
Oh gosh.
A barrel
Anyway.
roll.
Yeah, do a barrel roll. There we go. Like I said,
No, like I had a legitimate question, but then I got
sweet.
drunk. I've been sick all week, so
I'm sorry to hear that.
no, it's fine. The army gave me the flu shot, and flu shot always takes like 9 days for me to get over. Eat it.
Well, that's just the flu then.
Oh yeah, look! Thank God it's not like HIV or herpes. Like
Okay.
well, anyway. Oh yeah, question. Why did you give her a cape?
No capes.
Okay, is that like from The Incredibles, like no capes?
Well, kind of, sort of, but you would think nowadays capes would be more of a hazard than
Yeah. So
and I haven't read any of this, so I'm going in blind. So if it were me as a writer, no, hold on, I'm not gonna say that. Is there any portion of this work here where her long hair or cape becomes a hazard? Because that's an actual fight hazard.
So
I mean, not if you're super strong.
we're
I mean, it still could be a
also,
hazard.
yeah,
You can still take somebody's super hair, grab it, and super throw it into like a weed eater, and then it gets stuck, and then they're stuck. As she gets cold in the air from Mrs. H. So does like her nipples actually cut glass?
Oh my god.
No comment.
Omega glass.
So here's the thing on the cape. She is more operating in a more classic superhero vein in a lot of ways. So she's going to definitely engage with some of those more the modern problems that require modern solutions. As to quote Chappelle, she'll be engaging with those later. Right now, she's those things aren't enough to be as much of a challenge for her. But there are going to be a couple of fights where that probably will become a little bit more of an issue. But I can think of one fight in particular. I'm not going to spoil it. But that's kind of that would be the fight where she'd be like, oh, hey, that's where that moment would happen. Kind of like we're in Superman Apocalypse, where Darkseid, the big brawl at the end, catches Superman's cape and like throws him around a bit. And it's like, Superman still wears his cape, but in that moment it became a liability. So yeah, I'm not above having something like that happen.
Okay, that just lets me know you were prepared for that question. All right, question 2. I see you gave her abs. Did she have abs before or after she got blasted to shit?
Both. So the important thing for Amanda was the fact that she was and this goes back to her origin story at the very beginning.
From City of Heroes.
Oh, you mean from the video game? Did she have abs?
No. I'm just wondering which origin we're going from.
No, the origin in the comic. So
okay.
Yeah, the image
so
I just
topic.
Yeah. So in the image I just pulled up, she's not like, super heroic here, but she's fit enough to like try like a kung fu kick. So the idea in that panel was to kind of show off that she's not like defenseless. She wasn't like, oh, I'm defenseless, and now I got like injected with something, so now I'm a superhero. She was.
I'd inject her with something.
She. Oh gosh.
Sorry. Mike wasn't muted.
Yeah, you said the quiet part out loud. So the point is that that I wanted to get across was the fact that Amanda was the type of person who was always a hero. The superpowers she got afterwards were just a way for her to express who she already was. And that includes her being a kind of a fitness person. She eats healthy, she exercises, and she can defend herself. And like I said, the Omega particles just made her more of who she already was.
Okay, fair. Right. So discount Mega Man here. What is this suit made out of? Is it just like spandex and a pew pew? Or
you know what?
Is it Omega particles? Because
No. Disasternaut is not Disasternaut.
What?
Yeah, you're talking about Disasternaut. Disasternaut.
Yeah, like
I tried to keep it a little bit ambiguous, especially with the helmet, because I wanted the ability to explore there being something going on there. Like, is he like quasi? Like, what's underneath that? You know, is he a regular person? Is he more like, you know, is he like a blob in a suit? Is he kind of an energy form and that's in containment? So we're going to explore that later, like kind of, you know, which angle he's going in.
Okay, so basically, shut the fuck up, Brian. Got it.
That's not what I said.
Look, all you have to say. Look, I'm just translating for the you know, the audience.
Kids at home.
Okay.
Yeah, translate for the kids at home watching on stream. Jesus Christ.
Because
I will
our
ask
show is
you more
hugely
questions
popular.
because I apparently offend you. Sorry, dude.
No, I'm not offended. I'm literally the opposite.
No,
I'm
cool,
happy.
man. It's cool.
I'm happy someone asked me a question about my comic book.
Yeah, sure. Whatever, Dave.
He's trolling you so hard.
It's like
I
was
know.
happy people question him.
Freaking know, and I just can't do anything about it.
Just take it and roll with it.
Yeah, you just take it, Brandon.
Does anyone else? Can anyone else from chat come in and ask a question?
Oh wow! Anybody else? Oh, I see. I'm definitely loving and appreciating her.
Twitless, if you wanted that Omega Girl and Rogowski thing, it's pretty much out the window now.
Yeah, it's out the window now.
I
Jesus
screwed
Christ,
up.
man.
I screwed up.
You could have been sweet talking, being like, Ryan, you know, that thing that happened in Rags, you know, that was extraordinary, and I think this would be a perfect way to introduce. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Right? You kind of like, you know, like butter me up or shit, but no, like fuck you, Brian, your silly ass questions. And try to get more information about your Power Girl doc, but that's fine.
That's fighting words. Okay.
Just read that comic.
It's Cody. Now I have to be on my best behavior.
All right, good. That's why I came in. No, honestly, no, I don't know what was asked already, right? I came in late, and I'm curious, and I haven't read it. But, like, what made you, and this is a thing that I'm always, like, super curious about, because it kind of tells me what the comic's going to be about, is what made you decide to make comics, and then not only, like, decide to do it, but actually what carries you through the process and keeps you at it?
I have...
That's a good question.
A cinematic imagination. I definitely like, you know, text and writing, but like there are these scenes, and some of them came from the role play sessions, and some of them came from just like, you know, expanding on some of that. And I just have these epic scenes and fight. Some of them are fight scenes, and some of them are plot reveals, and some of them are secret twists, and some of them are Omega Girl at her lowest point, and some of them are at her highest point as she, you know, inverts the lowest point. And I even have soundtracks I listen to while I'm working out, where I have in these scenes just that play in my head, and I'm like, I have got to deliver this epic scene. And I've got one where she's facing off against a villain she's going to be fighting later, and I got just a couple of lines, and I just love them, and they're probably terrible. But like, I'll spoil just a couple of the lines. And so the villain's like, "This isn't a fight; it's an equation, and I just solved for Omega," you know, and just stuff like that. Yeah, and then then Omega Girl's like, "We'll see about that," and then she turns the tables on the villain, and the villain's like, "Well, we'll see about that," and then it's like, you know, let's see how's it going to resolve itself. And so like I get so excited about those moments, and I can't wait to bring all of them to you guys. So that's why I'm doing comics.
Sounds like it's similar for a lot of us. It's channeling insanity into expression, and I love that. What comes into that for me, what I try to really pay attention to is the flavors that folks choose. Like from you, it sounds like you want to have a good time, and you like wit. So I'm sure I would enjoy your writing. From what I've heard of the titles of your characters as well, I would think that's something I'd appreciate. Something that we got a lot more in classic comics, and now it's kind of has been beaten to death or even treated cynically. So I love hearing that. Yeah, all right. Now that answers my main question I had prepared to kind of try and just say howdy.
No, that was an excellent question. Thank you for coming and asking. Thank you.
Yes,
right.
Thanks, Cody, for saving Twitless from me.
I tried once before, didn't really work, so I had to come in a little bit more. But you know what? He's all yours.
Real heroes.
Oh, appreciate it.
God,
Oh,
I was gonna
he's
say
like,
real
so,
heroes
whoa.
don't wear capes.
What a friend. So, Twitless, more about your silly ass kinks.
Oh, jeez. We're about at 3 hours, so thank you for coming to Mattriarchy.
We can make this 4.
Oh gosh,
I can't. I have to write a grant tonight.
And I
Oh, you absolutely can. That you could just put yourself on mute, write the grant, and just be in the Twitless show.
Well, I mean, that's what the after show's for.
Oh well, we don't talk about the after show.
Okay, guys, we're gonna go ahead and does anybody have any final words for Twitless, or does Twitless have any questions for the panel?
Yes, it's 3 done. I want to see it.
Okay, I have a legitimate question. So, this is all on Amazon, right?
I do have issue 1 on Amazon. It's also on Indie Planet, and you can get a print copy there.
Okay, cool. So if we go to Indie Planet, we can just grab it all at once.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll post
So what are you doing? What are you doing for funding? Are you doing Patreon, out of pocket, crowdfunding, or just straight direct sales?
I work extra gigs and jobs.
Yeah, I sell plasma too.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying. So that's dope. Like you're just forgoing the crowdfunding hoopla and just saying fuck it, here's my shit. Buy my if you like it.
I am going to crowdfund a collected edition at some point, but right now it's just like I said. I just work extra jobs essentially.
While going to college,
Marm, you said something and I didn't catch it. Was that a question?
I said get issue 3 done. That's all. Not a question.
Okay, yeah. I will get issue 3 done. Yeah. Issue 2 is just Indie Planet's just taking a little while to get it posted, but it should show up there, and it's got a really good cover. So I'm excited to get that into your guys' hands.
Oh, does it have a Luigi cover?
It does not, because Luigi's your artist, right?
Oh man, yeah, you totally fucked that relationship up, buddy.
Well, I don't want to steal. I don't want to get into the. I thought writers got possessive of their artists and don't like it when they try to.
I mean, I do, but okay. So
right.
So here's the thing. All right, here's the thing. Me being almost sober. Yeah, he's the guy that draws for me, but I don't own him. I mean, we haven't owned slaves since what?
Oh gosh, I knew it. I freaking knew it.
Like, when does the Civil War end? Yeah, we don't own slaves here anymore. Like, no, he's just my dude that I.
And there is the final frontier. That is the final frontier of where this stream went. That I could never have predicted that it would go.
Yeah, this is gonna be so fun. When I get on board, predict the unpredictable.
Yeah,
that is how it goes. So, I'm gonna go ahead. It is late, and I gotta get going. Honestly, so we don't know what we're doing next week for sure, but there's gonna be a show, and I don't know who's gonna be there and what we're gonna talk about. At some point this month, we're gonna be talking about politics in comics, as far as like electoral politics as a lark. And I don't know who's coming for that one. And we're also going to be talking about Superman, my favorite Superman story. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure when that's going to be either. So, yeah, I'm really unprepared to end the show, but we're just going to go ahead and call it. So,
well, as usual, let's plug stuff.
Yeah. There is almost everybody's links are in the chat or in the description, I think. But I'm not sure where we're even with that.
Let's throw City of Heroes up there one more time just so people can try it out. Get a taste of what Logan was doing.
Yeah, there's let's see.
I didn't even know that was back.
I've been doxxed.
Well, if anybody buys your comic, they know it's right on the front.
I know. It's kind of a moot point here.
Well, it's not on the front. I was wrong.
It's on the inside cover.
Mine has it on the front because there's somebody took a marker to it. So,
damn.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Marmaduke. It's been like ages since we spoke. We haven't even spoke ever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hi.
The last time we were talking, it was because of Twitter Comicsgate Twitter drama number 364, right? And then I kind of went into my art zone. And I've achieved Zen Buddhism enlightenment, and I've just been going beyond that. So
Yeah, and I pretty much told those guys to like, eat a bag of stuff and kind of went my own path.
Popsicle sticks?
Yeah, that was it.
Yes, baby popsicle sticks, because this is a great Christian manga.
Oh, we're on a Christian Minecraft server. I like
this
that.
is a Christian Minecraft server. Okay.
Yep, I respect the Amish here. So
I have some that live too far from me.
Oh, okay. I'm exhausted. I gotta go, guys.
All right.
So
Yeah. Night, everybody.
Night, everybody. Thank you for
Hey,
tuning
Black.
in. Keep attention for next week, and who knows what's gonna happen.
Keep
And,
reading. Yeah, you say your thing.
say your thing.
Yeah, Rags Never Ate dropping soon.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Oh,
Bye.
yeah. Like we have like 2 more pages.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it looks really good.
I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Also, there's a link here. You can check that out. Here's a link here. Yeah. And bye.
Check out Radiant Rapture.